We good?
Yes, sir.
Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to the worldwide family. Those listening near and abroad. We do Psalm 51. Yes, sir. So, y'all happy feast of Sabbath day to all family and neighbors, strangers near and abroad. Y'all know how we get down. We turn toward Holy Jerusalem. As mentioned in Daniel chapter 6, verse 10, 1 Kings 8, we lift our hands up high because we want the Most High to lift us up. That's 1 Tim, chapter 2, verse 8. And y'all men ought to uncover their heads when praying or prophesying, and women ought to cover their heads. 1 Corinthians 11 chapter, Numbers 30th chapter. Y'all, so with that, we're going to get this prayer on. Y'all lesson brought forth. Go ahead, bro.
Most High's permission, in the name of His only begotten Son. Psalms 51. Have mercy upon me, O Yahweh, according to thy loving kindness. According to the multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgression. Wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. Against thee only have I sinned. I done this evil in thy sight, that thou mightest be justified when thou speakest, and be clear when thou judgest. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity. In the sin did my mother conceive me. Behold, my desire is true in the inward parts, and in the hidden parts thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall wither, be whiter than snow. Make me to hear joy and gladness, that thy bones which thou hast broken may rejoice. Hide thy face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O Yahweh, and renew my spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit. Then will I teach transgressors thy way, and sinners shall be converted unto thee. Deliver me from blood guiltiness, O Yahweh, thou Yahweh of my salvation, and my tongue shall sing aloud of thy righteousness. O Elohim, open thou my lips, and my mouth shall show forth thy praise. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offerings. The sacrifice of Yahweh are broken spirit, and a contrite heart. O Yahweh, thou wilt not despise. Do good in thy good pleasures unto Zion. Build thy walls of Jerusalem. Then shalt thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offerings and whole burnt offerings. Then shall offer bullocks unto thine altar. Hallelujah! Say God!
Yes.
Excellent, bro.
Lazarus, he walks.
What's going on, Tom?
I had a question. I ran across the scripture that said there was a man next to you that was given unto you a minister of God, a persecutor, to execute wrath on him that doeth evil.
We were talking about you,
Yes, sir. You read that script, huh?
I think it was Psalm 13, I do recall, exactly where I read it, and I want you to touch on and tell me what he meant by that.
Okay, we'll get right at it, bro. Just, I need it kind of quoted like how it's written.
Word for word.
Okay. Let me get these glasses on.
He said there's
You sure that's word for word?
word for word.
The glasses on.
Yes, sir.
What was it, Romans what? You say?
I think it's wrong.
I didn't even hear everything you was
All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get started, y'all, because we got a lot of scripts today. We're going to cover an area that touches all of our lives, both north, south, east, and west. Like you say, y'all, everything we do is from the Melchizedek order, which Christ Yahweh Shah is our high priest after that order. So, y'all, today's lesson is King David's heart. Let me repeat that again. King David's heart. The Most High said he had a heart like his own. So y'all, we need to get some clear understanding on what he meant by that and not lean toward our own understanding. There's a lot of things that took place with David. David sinned a couple times, but there's never a repeat issue of those sins. So he followed the commandments of keeping the law. It don't mean you'll never break it. It just means if a law was broken, you do what it takes to get back into the Most High's good grace.
I just want to get it right.
Yes, sir. Want to get it right. So, y'all, we're going to get right into the matter, y'all. We're not going to belabor the point and get into David's life from childhood. We'll just get with the summary of it that's mentioned in Sirach 47th chapter. We're gonna hit that and get right into it. But right now, y'all, due to the fact of multiple people and the life David was surrounded with, being a priest, a prophet, and a king, he was to mirror the Messiah. So we're going to see David's life as living under the Levitical priesthood of Aaron, but rocking Melchizedek, the future to come, showing us how to do it both. But the Messiah did both, even before and after he was crucified, because he was under Aaron until he was crucified, and when the temple veil rent, the order of Melchizedek was issued in. So we're going to see things in like manner. But we're going to take a walk with David, y'all, and we're going to see friend or foe, because believe it or not, as much as David warred with the Philistine, David had in-house wars with his own family. When the Messiah say the foes of your household will be your enemies, y'all, we're going to see this, and we're going to see if David is the enemy or is David heart like the Most High. We're going to see David with women, and we're going to see if David's out of control with polygamy, because you see a word called bosom. We're going to get into bosom, and we're going to explain how and when it's used, because remember, y'all, everything, every subject matter law must be applied to it, because the law is what's governing. That's right. If there's no law, there's no transgression. So we're going to clear up a lot of things and see if David was allowed to sin and get away with it. Or are we going to see David practicing what the Messiah taught him in spirit and truth? Or is it the way of the world? Because there's many that use David to hide their transgressions. They'll say David did, and the Lord was with David, but they never mention the punishments of David.
Right. Because they don't know him.
They know him. They just don't want you to know him. They just want to have the fun part. So y'all, we're going to get into this, and we're going to clear this matter up today. So y'all, we're going to go and get started with the heart of David, because it has to be a mirror image so that we don't give David the heart of Satan. And also, let me make this announcement too. Last week I did a class, you know, talking about the death angel and different things, you know, great class on explaining the plagues and what was about to take place. But we was talking about the death angel, and I said Revelation 20, which that angel was the Most High. What I meant was, I want to give shouts out to Brother Mike on that as well. It was Revelation 9:9. I was speaking of the angel of the bottomless pit that was let off, Abaddon, and in the Greek name it's Apollyon. but it's the same beast, that angel of the bottomless pit. Revelation 9:9 is what I was speaking of, y'all. So he will be thrown into the pit as well, but he's the one who goes about and takes care of all those who've taken the mark of the beast. So y'all, with that, we're going to get right into this class. Sirach chapter 2, verse 15 through 18. And we're going to see the Most High. We're just going to give the heart of the Most High so we can understand that to have a heart like the Most High, you have to be a law keeper. You can't try to weasel your way out when you get caught, because all that means is you're just sorry you got caught. You ain't sorry that you broke the law.
That's a big difference.
Major difference. So let's get that, y'all. Sirach chapter 2, verse 15 through 18.
Sirach chapter 2, verse 15. They that fear the Most High will not disobey his word.
What'd he say?
They that fear the Most High will not disobey his word.
So if you fear the Most High, it's the same as John is saying too. If you love me, keep my commandments. Y'all, so we ain't seeing nothing different here in Sirach. Go ahead, bro.
And they that love him will keep his ways. They that fear the Most High will seek that which is well-pleasing unto him. And they that love him shall be filled with the law.
What should they be filled with, bro?
The law. They that fear the Most High will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight, saying, we will fall into the hands of the Most High, and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy.
So y'all, that's what we were talking about today. As his majesty is, so is his mercy. And y'all, what we're talking about is the Messiah's majesty, the Father's majesty. What we're talking about, it can't be watered down. It can't be looked at like it's got leaven in it. Because the law that comes forth is pure, it's true.
A lamp.
It's a lamp, it's a light to those. And if it's been tampered with, that's a light that's flickering and about to go out. You know how dangerous that is. It's like a flashlight. You have to keep doing like this and clicking on again. And then it dims out again. If this Bible's been tampered with, y'all, that's what we working with. So don't let nobody ever tell you that it explains itself and it's tamper-free. So y'all, let's get right to it and compare this with what he said about David. Hit that Acts 13, 22 and 23. And then we'll back that up with Acts 2:34. Y'all gonna hit a couple one-liners because I got a few chapters we gonna read, but they're short chapters. And I'm gonna do something that's, I'm gonna try to do something. I'm gonna try to wait till the end of that scripture reading to comment on certain things, y'all, because we got a few scriptures to get through. And it's very important, y'all, with the life of King David, who represented the Messiah in the flesh before he came. But never to forget that he's the root and the offspring of David. So go ahead, hit that Acts 13, 22 and 23.
Acts 13, 23. Of this man's seed.
Hit 22 too.
Let me start at 22. Acts chapter 13, verse 22. And when he had removed him,
Talking about Saul.
he raised up unto them David to be their king, to whom also he gave testimony, and said, I have found David the son of Jesse, a man after mine own heart, which shall fulfill all my will.
1 Samuel 16, y'all, what that was said.
Yes,
go ahead, bro.
Of this man's seed hath Yahweh, according to his promise, raised unto Israel a Savior, Yahweh Shah.
So we can see right here, he said, according to this man's seed. Now, is seed male only, or is there female seed?
Female.
Because the law says it has to be, when you break down a situation, it has to be male, female, bond and free, rich and poor. Every law pertains to each one of those situations. If you continue to only do one side of it, you a cheater and you a thief and a robber. Because you don't want the side to see a part that's either going to condemn your own self or exalt them, so to speak.
Or exalt their enemy, rather.
Right, exalt their enemy. So they hide certain things from you and don't tell you what the law and keep you tricked up into what's called word etymology. What does a word mean? A word don't mean nothing because it has to apply to the rules.
And the characteristics of the context.
And the content. So it is like playing dominoes. You can't look at me and say it takes 15 to get on board and I already got 2 houses of fire. The rules are to be administered at the beginning. So that's what we want to do here today, y'all. So hit me that Acts 2:34 so we can see that David understood, and it was understood by the prophets that David was not the Messiah. He was a replica. He was somebody to look to like the Messiah, but we need to see the prophet also saying what would happen with David. Acts 2:34.
Acts chapter 2. Verse 34.
Right?
For David is not ascended into the heaven.
Where is David not?
Ascended into the heaven.
Right?
But he said himself, the Most High said unto my Lord, sit thou on my right hand until I make thy foes thy footstool.
That's right.
Therefore, let all the house of Israel know assuredly that Yahweh hath made that same Yahweh Shai, whom you have crucified, both Lord and Christ.
That's right. So let all Israel know, not David, but Messiah, that he's both Lord and Christ. So y'all, we have to want to be clear on that separates David, so we can just keep a line on this heart thing. Back that up with Proverbs 6:23. And then just give me John 1:13 and 14, y'all, and then we'll get right into the lesson. I just want to lay it on the line of the heart we're talking about dealing with. A heart that loves the Most High and it keeps his commandments. And if he does break one, he get away, repent, and turn away from that sin. That's the heart it's talking about. Did Messiah sin? No. So we have to get back according to the law of how David's heart was. That's why we started off with majesty and mercy.
And even though he repented, he still had to pay for those sins.
Had to pay for them, because we just read that Psalm 51, and that Psalm David wrote concerning Bathsheba and that crime against her. He told the Most High, he said, I've sinned against you, and my sin is ever before you. You know why? Because it has to be a judgment day.
That's right.
Even if he forgave them, it still has to come up. It's coming up to us in Matthew 1 when it says, and Uriah. Bathsheba, who was the wife of Uriah. So it keeps letting us know so that we don't get David mixed up with Messiah.
Right. Let you know there was a law breaking there.
Transgression.
Yes, sir. Hit that real quick. 6:23 of Proverbs and John 1:13 and 14. Y'all, we're going to roll through these and then we're going to get right into Sirach 47, because it's going to give David from a young man up to now. So we'll skip all of that because Sirach 47 is going to summarize it so we can get right into the heart of the lesson.
Proverbs 6, verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp.
What is the commandment?
A lamp. And the law is light, and reproofs of instructions are the way of life.
See, reproof and instructions are the way of life. If you reproving somebody to continue to do wrong, or you're hiding something from them, there's no life in that but death, because that's going to be the end results. Got multiple men out here trying to use David's transgressions to cover their own tracks, even old Elijah Muhammad. When Malcolm was questioning him about all them young tenders that's pregnant and he ain't taking care of, sitting on millions, he labeled it back to David. Why didn't he go to Muhammad? I'm so much seed like David. Well, are you prepared to take the punishment David took? See, if you hear somebody say these things and don't include the punishment of those crimes, you better watch out.
That's right.
Let's get some more, y'all. Where we at?
6:23 of Proverbs.
Yeah, now hit that John 1:13 and 14.
Did we do the proverb?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We got it.
John chapter 1.
Yeah, verse 13 and 14. That's all we're going to hit really quick.
John chapter 1, verse 13. me start.
Back it up.
Let me start at
10.
10.
Okay.
No, 9.
Okay.
8.
Okay.
Verse 8. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light.
Talking about John the Baptist. Go ahead.
That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Yahweh, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh.
Nor of the will of the what?
Flesh. Nor of the will of man.
Nor of the will of who?
Man. But of Yahweh.
Yes, sir.
And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
So right here, y'all, we see what the word was made flesh. So Messiah was fashioned into the commandments. So y'all, when we look at his ways and he say David's heart was like his, we got to see what does that mean? What was that compared to? Because we know the Messiah committed no sin. So we can't compare the heart level to that. So that's why we started off with majesty and mercy, because David is one of the greatest kings that ever lived, if not the greatest, second to Messiah, what we're talking about. His majesty, and then, you know, David's mercy on a lot of occasions. And some things David did, he just cut right to the thicket of it. But we'll see that David, his transgression, he sentenced himself. So that's what we got to be careful of. David chose the sentence for himself. So y'all, that's the type of heart we're looking at today. We're going to get right to it. Sirach chapter 47, verse 1. And y'all, this is going to get right into the heart of David, starting from a youngster on up, y'all, so we can get past that and get right into the meat of this lesson. Yeah.
All right, we're in the book of Sirach, chapter 47, verse 1.
What it say?
And after him rose up Nathan to prophesy in the time of David, as is the fat taken away from the peace offering. So was David chosen out of the children of Israel.
So out of all of the children of Israel, like the best portion of the sacrificed lamb or whatever was, David was chosen out of all Israel, y'all. We understand that from 1 Samuel 16, but I ain't gonna say nothing else till you get down to the end. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
He played with lions as with kids, and with bears as with lambs. Slew he not a giant when he was yet but young? And did he not take away reproach from the people, when he lifted up his hand with the stone in the sling, and beat down the boasting of Goliath? For he called upon the Most High Lord, and he gave him strength in his right hand to slay the mighty warrior, and set up the horn of his people. So the people honored him with 10,000 and praised him in the blessings of the Lord, in that he gave him a crown of glory. For he destroyed the enemies on every side, and brought to naught the Philistines his adversaries, and break their horn in sunder unto this day. In all his work he praised the Holy One Most High with words of glory.
What'd he do? Read that again.
In all his works he praised the Holy One Most High with words of glory. With his whole heart he sung songs, and loved him that made him. He set singers also before the altar, that by their voices they might make sweet melody, and daily sing praises in their songs. He beautified their feasts, and set in order the solemn times until the end. that they might praise his holy name, and that the temple might sound from morning. The Lord took away his sins.
What the Lord do?
The Lord took away his sins and exalted his horn forever. He gave him a covenant of kings and a throne of glory in Israel. After him rose up a wise son, and for his sake he dwelt at large. Solomon reigned in a peaceable time and was honored, for God made all quiet round about him, that he might build an house in his name and prepare his sanctuary forever. How wise was thou in thy youth, and as a flood filled with understanding. Thy soul covered the whole earth, and thou fillest it with dark parables. Thy name went far unto the islands, and for thy peace thou wast beloved. The countries marvel at thee for thy songs, and proverbs, and parables, and interpretations. By the name of the Lord God, which is called the Lord God of Israel, thou didst gather gold as tin, and didst multiply silver as lead. Thou didst bow thy loins unto women, and by thy body thou wast brought into subjection. Thou didst stain thy honor, and pollute thy seed, so that thou broughtest wrath upon thy children, and was grieved for thy folly.
Last verse.
So the kingdom was divided, and out of Ephraim ruled a rebellious kingdom. But the Lord will never leave off his mercy.
Off his what?
Off his mercy. Neither shall any of his works perish. Neither will he abolish the prosperity of his elect. And the seed of him that loveth him, he will not take away. Wherefore he gave a remnant unto Jacob, and out of him a root unto David. Thus rested Solomon with his fathers, and of his seed he left behind him Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding, who turned away the people through his counsel. There was also Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin, and showed Ephraim the way of sin. And their sins were multiplied exceedingly, that they were driven out of the land. For they sought out all wickedness, till the vengeance came upon them.
So y'all, we see here how David is compared and his life from beginning to end. And we see David's life, the Most High forgave his sin. And then it goes right into the successor after David, who was King Solomon. But it says Solomon slipped. And the women took control of his loins and caused him to err. And then at that time, but he was set up a kingdom of peace, because it was to mirror the second coming of Messiah. The same exact way, but we see that how it only deals with David and Solomon. It shows the righteous King David, and then it shows Solomon, who was the wisest of all. They came all over to see him, but a slip of the loins caused him major problems, and his sons after them. So y'all, all of that has to be restored. So we're going to end the lesson in 1 Kings 2 when David is giving Solomon charge. So we'll see that Solomon, because you got people out here teaching that Solomon was supposed to be Messiah. And y'all notice that Solomon was in peacetime in the kingdom, because it should mirror the coming kingdom. So if you thinking that you're going to be hanging and killing and different things, Solomon had peace for 40 years.
And that was
in
a
the
promise
kingdom
given to him by the Most High to David, given unto David.
That's right.
Because of his righteous ways of his heart, his repentant heart. that he would give a peaceful time in the time of his son who would stand and reign in his stead. That his son would reign in a peaceful time.
That's right. And look, David understood that also, that it was coming of his seed, so he knew it wasn't going to be him, because David knew what things he had done, and the Most High told David, you got too much blood on your hands.
Couldn't build the temple.
You got righteous blood, and you got bad blood on your hands.
Yep.
You got some bad blood on your hand, David. You accountable for a lot of souls in Israel to be put to death. So you cannot build my temple. So anybody thinking that you're going to be slaying and killing in the kingdom, this is your mirror image. It cannot be that. Right. There's another group going to take care of that work for you. But if you think you're going to be doing what they did to you, you're sadly mistaken. It has to be a time of peace that you free of sin. That you think you're going to be able to enjoy it, just say, well, he got his, I got mine. The next thing you walk down, another pair of testicles toe off. In the kingdom every day, that's what you're going to see for eternity. That's going to satisfy you.
You wouldn't get enough.
Boy.
That was just like, remember the testament of Abraham when he went about destroying and killing everybody because of the sins.
Yeah.
And Messiah said, no, see, your judgment ain't a just judgment because you want to kill everybody.
You want to kill everybody. Absolutely.
He's like, you ain't going to leave nobody alive.
So y'all, we're going to get right into the heart of this matter and get into, because everything we're talking about that sums up David is the foes of his own household, y'all. See, and this is how the Messiah was training David. You know, the Father was training David, because you'll see the Messiah went through the same exact thing. His own household. You know, when somebody outside say, I find no fault in him, who was it that found fault in him? His own household, wasn't it? And then he talk about the world after that, doing what he gonna do with them after that. And we're gonna see the same thing. We're gonna start this walk with David, with his in-house enemy, King Saul, the Benjamite. And we're gonna see what took place with this in-house rivalry. But we're gonna see David understanding what majesty and mercy is with this king who was threatening to kill him every day. Now I want y'all to think about it. It's already one thing. I already took their champion, Goliath, and they calls him a champion. Let's get it understood. Other nations do have champions. Some champion from Yugoslavia just beat up one of our champions, Devontae. I mean, what's his name? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless how you look, he got belts, don't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Bottom line. So let's get right to it, y'all. We're going to get into this and we're going to get some clear understanding. And it's going to cover a lot of areas of David's transgressions that men use today to justify their horny deeds. Let's get it. Where we at? 1 Samuel 18 and 1.
Naughty, naughty, naughty.
Yes, sir. And y'all know all of the in-betweens, y'all. We're just going to get right to it. 18 and 1.
Still you last.
Yeah. 1 Samuel 18.
Yes, sir. Y'all, we're going to see friendship covenants made that when you see things, it is nothing more than a man lay down his life for his brother. Y'all, we're going to see all of that combined in there as David and Jonathan, the same with Messiah and the disciples that he loved. And y'all, we're going to see a mirror image, but it wasn't David, because David didn't have to bear his soul on a cross for the Messiah. It was the other way around.
That's right.
Let's get it.
We're in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
So now you have naysayers to grab this scripture and say, oh, that was some kind of homosexual act. But y'all, we way above that little petty talk, that flesh talk. That's why we got into understanding David's heart. Y'all, this is Melchizedek. This is the heavenly priesthood taking place here. If your mind is thinking that, then the majesty and the mercy that you're looking for ain't gonna happen, because you just reduced him to yourself. In like manner, how's a sinner gonna take away your sins? The high priest first had to sacrifice for his sins and then for the people.
That's right.
Let's get some more. Where we at?
Verse 2. And Saul took him that day, and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant.
What they do?
Made a covenant. Because he loved him as his own soul.
As his own soul, y'all. So this is when you get past. I mean, it's partners you have out here that you closer with than your own birth brother.
Yes, sir.
Proverbs 18:24.
Yes, sir. So you have to understand this soul. This is the same love that the Messiah had with his disciples. This type of love, y'all. We ain't talking about no Negro's mouth filled with guile that would tell you something and show you something and not show you the end thereof, that you're heading for the pit.
Right.
Read some more.
And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him, and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely.
What'd he do?
Behaved himself wisely.
Uh-huh.
And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants.
So Saul has been a little wise here too, because he know like who I'm gonna put in charge of David. Because who went out there after Goliath? I mean, who? Everybody else was hiding behind bushes, wasn't it?
Right.
So it's an automatic promotion, so to speak, from shepherd boy to the top armor bearer.
That's right.
You the man.
Right.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines.
Where was he returned from?
From the slaughter of the Philistines.
So y'all see this blood that's constantly on David's hands. But it's a mirror image, just like when Messiah come back, it's gonna be blood on his hand up to the horse's bridle. Let's get some more.
That the women came out of all cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his 1,000, and David his 10,000.
See, now this is a problem. You come out, you say you coming out, this is why we're coming out, because you can't neglect the king. David's second in command. It's just like Joseph was to Pharaoh. They couldn't, all Egypt couldn't just be talking about Joseph and Pharaoh standing right there. That's gonna harden your heart, ain't it?
That's right.
You think if everybody said Pence killed his 10,000, Trump only killed his 1,000, it ain't gonna be hell to pay in the White House? Go ahead, bro. Go over here. I'm gonna get some of that. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Verse
Get some
8,
stuff over there for baby girl. Okay. Yeah.
and Saul was very wroth,
What was Saul?
very wroth, and the same displeased him. And he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the king?
So he's looking at it like this is where jealousy has overpowered him. He's looking at this like they hollering his name more than mine. What's left for him but the kingdom? How to parade for me, but they hollering his name? That's a problem, ain't it? And that's the same problem the Pharisees had.
Yep.
There's hollering Messiah's name, and they talk about what about us?
Right.
What about us?
Yep.
No, y'all just a form of extended soothsayers. From Saul, that behavior, same behavior, dealing with the dark side. Go ahead, brother.
And Saul eyed David from that day and forward.
What'd he do?
Eyed David.
Boy, ain't them terms we use today. I got my eye on that. I'm watching you.
I'm watching you.
Now, what is he watching them about? Did David?
Doing this to him.
Did David force them women to say that?
No.
Man.
So what is he watching David for? And he know Jonathan, my son, love him. What is it about this young man?
Jealousy.
Go ahead. You know what it was. But you have to stay in your lane, y'all. If you get jealous about the Most High blessing somebody with something you know you ain't got, how you gonna be jealous and envy that?
You better fight to get up out your flesh.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, bro.
And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul. And he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand, as at other times. And there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it.
Boy, y'all see that? Y'all think about this in his mind. He's
Pin him
so
to the
hateful.
wall.
He was going to pin him to the wall.
Dang.
And
He
David's
was-
just sitting there like,
Right. David just, and it's an evil spirit that Enoch 15 speaks of, left over from the giants, the angels and the children of men that had intercourse with those giants. The flesh died, but the spirits, the Most High used. That's why I say it's an evil spirit, but the Most High say, I don't create evil. There's no evil up in the heavens. The only evil that was up there got cast down.
That's right.
So all of that left over, if it becomes evil, he uses it against evil.
That's right.
So he sent that spirit to Saul to see what Saul was going to do. You're a king of Israel, and we're going to see this walk. Who played who? Who was the devil in this whole role? And should we be looking at a dark side of this, or actually you're hollering David, but you have the spirit of King Saul? Let's get some more. Where we at?
Oh, that's
Verse
ugly.
11.
That's ugly.
Right. And David avoided out of the presence twice. And Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him, and was departed from Saul. Therefore Saul removed him from him, and made him his captain over 1,000. And he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways.
Some of his way.
All his ways. And the Lord was with him. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him.
So y'all see how law and keeping the Most High in fear of him makes your enemy scared to death of you? He's scared to death of you, y'all. That's what he calls on their head. Because they're not worried about this flesh. He like, look, man, I went out there with Goliath and he had 3 belts on at the time. Championship belts.
but he was a law keeper. So
Absolutely.
he didn't have to fear.
Didn't have to fear, man, and this is
The
what we're
Most High
talking
was with him
about.
for being a
Yes,
law
sir.
keeper. We want to portray the law and go against the law and think the Most High still riding with us.
Boy, come on.
Because you speak it well, but your heart is foul as all know what.
Full of guile. And y'all, and this is what we're talking about. When you quote scriptures and there's guile involved, you know you're saying it only to trick somebody.
Right.
But it's the only other way you can convince them. Y'all, we can't even speak guile if it ain't about getting with no woman. I'm talking about if you want to break somebody from all of these man-made doctrines and you cheat to bring them in, you can't present that on the altar. A cheated soul brought in, you had to lie to him to bring him on this side.
Because sooner or later, the truth gonna be known. And then what you gonna do for them then?
Right.
Because
What is your lie gonna do to them?
You know what it's gonna be like? It's gonna be like that boy that told Malcolm when he said, this the real deal, ain't no BS. And Malcolm looked him right back in the face later on saying, I thought you said this was the real deal.
Right.
You full of BS.
Right.
Let's get some more.
Verse 16.
Uh-huh.
But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them.
See, like a shepherd, like the Most High, that's why Israel loved David, because David didn't take no short. David loved all Israel. He didn't play hate nobody. And once we get through some more of these scriptures, you're going to see how David loved Israel. Everything he gave things to everybody. It's going to say both men and women. See, wasn't none of this player hating or this talking about we're going to use him and we're going to make him second and third class citizen. I don't want to just keep belaboring this, but we're talking about a man that's under the order of Melchizedek, but in a time of the priesthood of Aaron.
Right.
Let's get some more.
Verse 17. And Saul said to David, behold my elder daughter Merab, her will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me, and fight the Lord's battle. For Saul said, let not my hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him.
Now you see this, he's making him the captain of everything, but he's saying, I don't want to kill him, I'm just going to keep setting him up that where the Lord will have him killed. You know, I'll send him out to battle. This is what he's thinking. This is where his mindset is. I'll make him this, and I'll send him out to war to get killed, to get rid of him. But know that this is your protection. Ain't nobody else gonna be able to protect you like David. And when he was throw them just say, David just moved, you talking about, you know how Floyd Mayweather do the shoulder roll? David had the shoulder roll and just kept playing that harp. And he threw another one, he just rolled, and that scared the hell out, because it probably was pew right past his ear. Saul probably had pinned many people to the wall with that spear. He knew how to throw it.
Right.
Hell, he's a Benjamite. They known for, they were better slingshot throwers than David was.
Yep. Say they could split a hair.
They could split a hair. I mean, that's how accurate they were. Y'all can Google this right now. It's called Slingshot Championships. And there's some heathens that do it out there, the slingshot. They have rocks about this big, and they throw them, and they measure the impact of those stones when it hits something, and you can see it. They, you know, they had the dummy set up like those Mythbusters and different things, and you can see how far the stones sunk into this head. But the speed and accuracy, this heathen throwing them things, you don't want to be hit with one of them. And you know, they used to be on the front lines. So they knocking everybody off of horses that's coming. You charging on, and they say it would dent through them little helmets. I'm talking about the speed of a stone, and they throwing it with accuracy.
Like a bullet.
Boy, just like a bullet.
Wow.
Go ahead, bro.
Verse 18.
And
David said unto Saul, who am I? And what is my life or my father's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king?
So David asked right off, he like, look, I ain't got no relationship to you, and you rich like this. He said, my family, we ain't nothing but little sheep herders.
Right.
You know, what are we to be taking the king's daughter? You see the mindset of this man? He didn't say, ooh, yes sir, I saw Morale. Ooh, yes sir, I'll keep the Philistines off you. Go ahead, bro.
He wasn't licking his chops.
Chops, boy. Did this what David doing, or did David just Did David just say, no, man, I ain't no. What am I to take the king's daughter?
I ain't worthy.
I ain't worthy. Go ahead.
Verse 19. But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given unto Adriel the Meholathite to wife.
So right here, even after he made that promise, he said psych and gave her to this other boy, Adriel. You know, so even promised it to him and broke the promise. So y'all keep in mind about this being David's first wife that he never got a chance to even be with. She was secretly gave away in stealth to somebody else. So y'all remember this. This is going to be very important. Was this his wife or not? Because there ain't been no ceremony yet. Let's read some more.
And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David.
See, and who? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you read all that.
And they told Saul, and the thing pleased him.
So now it's Michal, because Saul had two daughters.
Right.
She loved David. Do you know this is the only time in Scripture that it ever say a woman loved a man? I mean, we know it happens in there, but I'm just talking about directly out. She told her dad, I love that. I love David. Now you thinking about this, your daddy, two of your daughters love your enemy. And not because he's some bad boy. I'm not talking about like daughters that they go get a bad boy, bad record, and then they end up on the show For My Man. Well, you go rob a bank or something like this. See, this was opposite of that. They loved David, who they knew the Spirit of God was on him, because they knew what their father was doing. They heard him plotting against David. Let's read some up.
And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain.
So I'm gonna give you one of the daughters. You still gonna be my son-in-law. I gave you the first one away. Now what does David to think about this? You know, you're gonna do me again. Do we see Laban in here?
Right.
You know, so we got a double cross in here, but he's gonna give you the other daughter, so because she loves you, she loves you. I can use her to get next to you because you're gonna lay down and close your eyes.
Right.
You're gonna get comfortable. You're gonna do what Samson did with Delilah. Just what I need. And just like the Philistines came upon him, same thing gonna happen with you, partner. Let's get some more.
Verse 22. And Saul commanded his servants, saying, commune with David secretly, and say, behold, the king hath delight in thee, and all his servants love thee. Now therefore be the king's son-in-law. And Saul's servants spake those words in the ears of David. And David said, seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man.
What kind of man?
A poor man, and lightly esteemed.
See, this is what David said. David wasn't worried about jumping in the rack. David was still, because we started off talking about he was like the heart of the Most High, so he's thinking laws. If I just got a regular woman, but now this the king's woman? Right. No, how you gonna put me in that position and then all she gonna be doing is maintaining me?
Right.
I'm a poor man. Right. No, see, then that's the cashing out techniques they'll do, right there. See, he getting cashed out. See, and that's what you start to think, that a woman is supposed to sustain a man.
Yes.
But it's going to be the same thing in Proverbs 25, 22, I believe it is. Woman that maintains a man is going to be full of reproach and anger.
Yep.
Let's get some more of that. What it say?
Verse 24. And the servants of Saul told him, saying, on this manner spake David. And Saul said, thus shall ye say to David, the king desireth not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of Philistines to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines.
Yeah, y'all see how low down this in-house war is? Before David ain't even thinking about the Philistines. He said they easy work. That the hard work is right here in my own household, y'all. That's why we always seem like we saying, I just can't get my mother's brothers or sister to listen. Well, y'all, all y'all have to do is take this route David took and know there's certain lines you cannot cross because of the commandments. But David, you see what he said, I ain't gonna even charge you a dowry. So what does dowry mean?
A fee.
A fee for who? A female.
Female. For the woman, for the daughter.
He said, I ain't gonna charge you that. I'm gonna charge you off of your skill set. Same way Laban did, didn't he?
Yep.
Charge Jacob off of his skill set.
But you see that David understood there was rules to the laws of marriage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There was rules to the laws of engagement. And he knew and understood at that point in his life as a youngster that I don't have the means to care for a wife, especially a wife of that magnitude.
Right.
A wife
So
of
it
that
wasn't about
magnitude.
lust, like Dad's pointing out. His mindset was on the law and doing whatever he was going to do according to the laws of the Most High and His Holy Begotten Son.
And that was just for one woman.
Boy, look, just for one. What you got back there, bro?
What is the definition of the dowry again?
Dowry is the bride's price.
Who said?
Bride's price.
Gotcha.
What you give unto her father
That's what I was
to take her off his hand and she become your responsibility.
Right.
That's the dowry.
Yep.
She comes into your bosom.
Because if you see what the
Respect you go to the father.
Yes, sir.
you see what the definition of a husband is one who governs the and is the overseer of the affairs of his helpmeet,
That's right.
who manages the affairs. And how do you manage that without putting forth something first to obtain it?
So just being married is not good enough.
What do you mean?
There's
You have
Absolutely,
to
bro.
be able to take care of her. Because the first thing a father or the mother is going to want to know, are you going to take care of my child?
Right.
And she's not going to end up back in my house.
Oh, pregnant with 10 babies.
And
back
it's
in
all
house.
my responsibility now.
Let alone,
Because now she has no more covering, and I become her covering again.
let alone if she's still in your house.
Oh boy, you done took it to a whole nother level.
It's a whole nother level.
Thank you, brother.
Y'all, and this is what we're talking about when Miriam got put out. It said, but if her father had but spit in her face, she still have to do 7 days outside the camp. And that's what a father would do. She come home and he opened that door up. She's standing there with the pumpkin belly. And he look out for the husband, nowhere to be found. And she just got her head down. He would spit in her face because that's the shame you just brought back to my house. Because see, Israel wasn't going for this. It's just like back in the day, they would go, ooh, she pregnant. Rumors going around. Ain't no telling. We gotta wait 8 more months to see who this baby's daddy
Y'all know who
is.
that daddy is, and
Boy.
that's all the rumors. You know, so-and-so that baby's daddy.
Yeah. Let's get some more. Yes, sir.
It's crazy because as long as that's established, it don't never be no conflict. But that don't be established half the time.
No.
Right.
Who the dad?
Who the daddy?
Somebody gonna get hurt.
See, and that's why you can't entertain women that get mad and then will
They
say,
always end up getting
you know, that'll get mad and say, why can't a woman have more than one husband? This is the reason why. You ain't gonna know who the daddy is.
Who the dad?
It's gonna always be a problem. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 26.
What it say?
And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law. And the days were not expired.
So it pleased David to be the king's son. He like, what, get 104 skins? That's an easy word. Goliath's head was busted to the white meat. All you need is 100. Let's read some more.
Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men.
How many men?
200 men. And David brought their foreskin, and they gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife.
So right here, they brought and told, they like, man, he went and got 200. He like, what?
Doubled up.
He doubled up his dowry the same way Jacob doubled up for Laban. Jacob doubled up for Laban the same way when he came from the field. Not only has he got his stacking up, but he's got Laban stacking up at the same time, and he's asking for one wife. Through these 7 years, he's stacking paper. He's stacking sheep for him and Laban to work. Laban can't say nothing. He like, I gave you mine and I generated enough to take your daughter off your hands with no suffering on your part.
Right.
I showed you what I am. I showed you I'm not lustful. 7 years I worked for Rachel, and in like manner, David risked his life for his bride. So we're talking about protection. Now look, you got the king's daughter, and the order is go get me 4 skins. Now if a Negro won't even go in front of 2 witnesses to let the public see you get married, they ain't cut out for this work. Not once have we seen it, and David said, show me the chamber area. After that I shall attack the Philistines.
He ain't gonna have no strength.
No, he ain't gonna have no strength. Go ahead, bro. Did you finish that?
Verse 28.
Uh-huh.
And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet the more afraid of David. And Saul became David's enemy continually.
What did Saul become?
Saul became David's enemy continually.
So y'all, how do y'all think that works? The man that's in charge of everything is your sole enemy, and y'all from the same family. See, y'all, it starts off in-house so we understand the walk. That's why it's if you can't get past your family members, this walk ain't for you. You ain't ready for them that's out there. If you can't get past your family members that you see every day, how you gonna deal with that champion out there?
And they ain't doing nothing.
That done dropped 2 nukes on another nation, and ain't no other nation on earth dropped nuclear holocaust. All the nations that have it, I'm talking about the superpowers, ain't never did it. This nation dropped 2, and that was their beginning work. Hydrogen nuclear.
Yeah.
Now it's thermal. And you gonna put some Negroes only concerned about ruffling the sheets in the wee hours? in charge of this type of champion? Let's read some more.
Verse 30. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass, after they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by.
So we seeing how David's name is set by. I just want to get into that household scrap of how to deal with somebody that you're scrapping with in your own household that's above you, that's been anointed by the Most High. So this is telling you what lines you can't cross with your mama. Cause she'll tell your secrets cause you bring another girl over there to take in the basement in your room.
These is draws, girl.
Right here, look at right here. Look at the seat of them. You sure you want to be with him? No, that ain't a footprint. That's not a footprint. That come from his rear end.
I'm sorry, that's what came to my head.
Right. And then you think I ought to cuss her out. I'm going to cuss her out as soon as her pastor come over here for that Sunday dinner. I'm going to front her off. No, you can't. No, you can't.
That'll end your whole relationship.
Let's get it,
Your
y'all.
mama hold up some stained drawers to your woman.
Unless you just as nasty as your ass.
Right. So really quickly, y'all. So we're gonna get right into Saul's punishment. But what I want y'all to see here is that there was covenant made by David. We just read one in 1 Samuel 1-4. Jonathan and David made a covenant. Hit 1 Samuel 20, 15, and 16 for me. It's just a one-liner. This is another covenant that was made, and it's concerning offspring and down the line generations, y'all. So this is what we want to talk about, y'all. When we read in Sirach that it talks about what David left to Solomon. David left Solomon the keys to the kingdom, didn't he? Did he not? What Solomon do? He left his children screw up. Rehoboam and Jeroboam, he left them screw up because he could not gird his loins with truth like David. So we're going to get to David's problems with women, or what could create problems for him, which would be law breaking for some of the things if you're not understanding the subject matter when Nathan came to David and explained the things to him. By no means are we saying that polygamy was not legal, but we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts of this and see did David ever have his master's wives.
The law of the matter.
Or we misunderstanding that because we see a S on the end of wives. Is that what got our goat? We can only see that, but he gave him some other things that seem to keep getting missed. What else he gave to him when he said, I'm giving you the kings of the kingdom? Y'all, because this is what we're talking about. How we see what David gave to Solomon. Saul was supposed to transfer that to David in like manner. So with that comes certain things, but we gonna get into it, y'all. Y'all see it. Let's get right to it, y'all. Give me that 1 Sam. We said this 1 Samuel 18, 1-4 is the one covenant. Now get the other covenant with David and Jonathan. 1 Sam chapter 20, verse 15 and 16.
Chapter 15, chapter 20, verse 15 and 16. But also thou shalt not cut off thy kindness from my house forever. No, not when the Lord hath cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, let the Lord even require it at the hand of David's enemy.
Go ahead, read the next verse.
And Jonathan caused David to swear again, because he loved him. For he loved him as he loved his own soul. So
basically what we're getting to is Jonathan knew the hit was on his daddy. And he said, I'm going to have to die with my daddy because he hates you. And because of what my daddy doing to you, the pain going to fall on me. It's automatic. The fathers have eaten sour grape, but the children's teeth on edge. He said, my teeth on edge because of how my daddy hates you and I love you. So I'm going to have to pay the price. He said, but do this for me. Take care of my offspring. Don't forget about me, man. Don't let my family be cut off, because you know what I'm doing for you. And David made a covenant with him that you ain't never got to worry about that partner. your seed gonna be left alive when you get handled. Now the Lord said wipe all of Saul's seed out. But is the Lord acknowledging David's and Saul's covenant here? See, y'all, so we have to understand that. And so it's in like manner when you see he wiping out all of Esau, but then you got Amos 9 where he say, but the remnant of them is left, y'all. It's of all nations that's gonna say, look, we believe and we ain't got no problem with it. Serve y'all for 1,000, man, that's easy work. When do I get started and where the applications at?
Because this is law. Love thy brethren as thyself.
Come on.
Because love worketh no ill manner towards thy neighbor.
Yes, sir.
This is law. That's why it was okay by the Most High, because he was performing law.
So is that why Judah and Benjamin together right now today?
No, that's just how the kingdom got split from Solomon's son. 10 went north and the other 2 stayed in Jerusalem. So it was just south and north of the tribes. That's just what happened, you know, because of Solomon's behavior.
But we see her.
So that covenant that was just made had nothing to do with that.
No, because we're only dealing with Jonathan's offspring, so to speak.
Right.
His initial children. Because he get ready to die. If they cut off his children, then the whole house of Saul is cut off forever.
And not only that, they're coming under a seed of goodness because Jonathan is teaching his children the right way.
Yes, sir.
So they're coming under a righteous bloodline, despite what the grandfather have done. If a man turn from his wicked way and become righteous, then he's counted righteous. So right here, because the Most High is finna put down all them because of disobedience. However, this righteous covenant that's made is made under a righteous law.
Yes, sir.
Which is love thy brethren as thyself. So this overrides what's getting ready to happen. The judgment pronounced on those that he's finna give it to.
I got you.
So this is a law that's being practiced that's of righteousness, void of that punishment that they practiced.
Yes, sir.
That Saul and his people were practicing.
1 Samuel 31, y'all. So now we're getting into the sin of Saul that caused him to fall. We're going to get into David's few sin, and then we're going to wind it up with how David left this earth. And y'all, we're going to see what's truly what King David's heart. So far, we ain't saw nothing that somebody could use his behavior and say, I'm modeling myself after David. About a poor man. You only could if you try to use him, you know, slick Negroes are used where he married Abigail in a cave, he's a poor man. No. The problem is, why did they use him when he's a poor man? At this point, David is got Abigail and all her money, so ain't no money problem.
Right.
Cause she's got all of Nabal's money with her, cause Nabal dead. And he's finna be heir to the throne because Saul is on his way out, so he's finna inherit $1 billion kingdom. So this ain't about a poor man with that scripture to use that. That's a stopover, because when we get into that, we're gonna see that the deal, what they want to do is make sure that nobody be saying you sleeping with Nabal's wife. So we're gonna stop right now and 2 witnesses, however many witnesses, and we gonna consecrate this marriage in front of witness, so ain't nobody gonna be talking no noise. It wasn't because David didn't have no money in his pocket. The money was there. The money was gonna be there, but the righteousness of it, so it don't be misunderstood that nigga got Nabal's wife. That nigga got Nabal's wife. No, it wasn't gonna be none of that. But if your mind is only on a man with flat pockets taking on a wife, then you will run for that scripture and manipulate it to work for you. You'll never show the one where David said, I'm a poor man. What shall I give this? Go to work and kill them Philistines and get. You think they gonna mention that?
No.
Do they want any parts of that?
Never
That
have.
means I got to get up early and be valiant. Right. So I can't lay around here and eat up all the children's cereal and then go out there messing with them Philistines.
So as long as this doctrine has been floating around, that has never been mentioned.
David was always a hard worker.
Yes, sir.
Always a hard worker.
From youth up.
So that's why he had no problem. Like, what, the Philistines go get 2 of these foreskins?
Double up the work.
Right, doubled it up.
That'd be like working overtime.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna start you like if somebody Anheuser-Busch, I'm just using the name. Anybody with a lot of money and power would say, well, I'm gonna start you at the plant. You can start working 4 days a week, 10 hours. And they say, shit, he been working 6 days a week, 15 hours a day. He only takes 1 day off.
As a
be
youth,
like,
he
dang.
was saving the flock.
Exactly.
Oh, boy, come on.
Huh?
Exactly.
As a youth, he was saving the flock.
These Negroes won't save nothing.
1 Samuel 31.
Won't say,
Right.
won't say we'll swallow orange juice.
Boy, come on.
Where we started?
Not a swallow. They'd have left. You can't even rinse your mouth with what's left in the jug. And it's back in there with the top ain't even screwed on tight.
Right.
Go ahead, bro.
What was it, 1 Samuel 31?
Yes, sir.
1 Samuel chapter 31, verse 1. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. The Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons. And the Philistines slew Jonathan.
Who they slew?
Jonathan. And
Benedict.
And Melchishua, Saul's son.
So they fell hard on them. Saul's whole household gone. All his sons. Go ahead, bro.
And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded from the archers.
So he's got wounds of where they like, look, he gonna be dead in a few. He bleeding out. He's bleeding out. Go ahead.
Then said Saul unto the
Armor
bearers, draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through, and abuse me. But his armor bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took his sword and fell upon him.
Now, a lot of people think Saul killed himself on his own, you know, and Saul just say, well, you ain't gonna help me. I'm gonna pull a Harry Carey, a Jack Kevorkian, and I'm gonna fall on my own sword. And that was a term, fall on your own sword. I'd rather kill myself than let the Philistines kill me. You know, a lot of people, no, I take myself out. But is this man thinking correctly with thinking about this? So a lot of people, you know, you get to naysay and say, well, that's contradicting what the armor bearer, what happened in 1 Chronicles. No, it ain't. Because when the armor bearer said he came upon Saul, he said he was breathing and gasping heavily. I just did what he asked me. It's like somebody died in the hospital. You just gently put the pillow over their face. Let's get some more.
Verse 5.
What it say?
And when his armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor bearer, and all his men that same day together.
So we're going to get right to the scripture. I know this is just summing it up that Saul died that way. It's just lumping it all up and just saying, so he died that day. But we're going to see that he was also assisted because his armor bearer saw that he was dead. He killed himself. He technically died before Saul did. So he didn't see the end of Saul, but there's more writings here that's going to explain it. Some writers write up to a point, another writer pick it up. Just like the Post-Dispatch and the Globe Democrat. They may tell you Quick Trip got robbed. The other one's going to detail the car that they left in. So it's about the same situation, but one book adds more detail. It's not contradicting. It would be contradictory if it said Saul killed a Philistine and was running and fell off a cliff and he died. But it ain't saying that everything matches up. The subject matter we're talking about. Some people just see things a little bit more differently than the other have more detail. Some pay more attention. That's why everything must be proven with 2 witnesses. When he send you out, I may see some, Elijah see the other half of it and he bring that forth. I'm like, boy, I'm glad you saw that. We talk about the same thing. He just saw some things. He's like, man, when we passed Cobrillion, I saw him loading up. I didn't see that because I'm driving. You know, so in like manner, stories are told like that, but the initial subject matter cannot change, or then it's contradictory. Let's get some more. Where we at?
Verse 7. And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they that were on the other side Jordan, saw that the men of Israel fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. And it came to pass on the morrow, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. And they cut off his head.
What they do?
Cut off his head. And stripped off his armor, and sent into the land of the Philistines round about, to publish it in the house of their idols and among the people.
And you see what came back up on Saul is the same thing that happened to Goliath. His head got cut off about messing with David.
And published.
And now his head got cut off and published up. Saul and his sons, but the Most High ain't gonna allow that to continue to happen. We couldn't leave the least of this people like that. Saul wasn't gonna go out in shame like that, or these nations will still be talking about it, because we're still a household. So he's just not gonna let the nations be able to say we just turned our back. Because when the Philistines saw Saul dead, Israel took off running, abandoned their cities. Just like you heard Negroes right now talking about taking off running, because the heat come. Abandon the cities, ain't they? Niggas ready to take off.
Because they're hirelings. They're not real shepherds.
Let's get some
They
more.
don't give a damn about the people, because the people
Yes, sir.
ain't part of them.
Where we at?
Verse 10.
And they put his armor in the house of Ashtaroth.
Oh, the Easter bunny god.
And they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. And when the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of that which the Philistine had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose and went all night and took the body of Saul and the body of his sons from the wall of Bethshan, and came to Jabesh and burnt them there. And they took their bones and buried them under a tree at Jabesh, and fasted 7 days.
So we see here what happened. Some Israelites went and got the bodies down, pulled them off the wall, and because they've been hanging up there display, you can't have no funeral for them. So they basically just had to burn them to keep the contamination down. Because bodies up like that, you're gonna spread contamination everywhere. So they burned the bodies, but they took the bones. So this is what we're talking about too. So you got to be careful of the laws when you're telling somebody about clean and unclean. If a dead body fall down by you or you unclean, it tells you till evening. See, it's not that you can't participate in things. It gives you a time period to see if contamination has fallen on you. It's the same way they're doing with this virus, to give you go home for 2 weeks. We need to see that long. If you got it, it's going to show itself within that amount of time. So in like manner, but they brought the bones back, which would not have any disease. The problem is people saying you can't touch bones and different things, you know, well, the law say you ain't supposed to, and they charge people with uncleanliness. The problem, we still got Joseph say, do what when we leave Egypt?
Take my bones.
Do what?
Take my bones.
Take my bones. Bring my bones back and bury them in a new location. So it's time that so what is it really talking about the dead? Is it in contaminated stages? Is that what it's talking about that makes you unclean? Because you will be. If you dig up a bone right now, you can pick up an old bone. Hell, you ain't contaminated when you find an old chicken bone, is you? You'll hold it up with no problem. I know Theo will.
I ain't gonna talk about that, man.
Okay.
He watching.
Y'all understand what I'm saying? And when they examine bones and different things, and when they look at them, they'll touch it. There's no contamination. But like now, these funeral homes, you cannot have a funeral because they cannot embalm with the virus like that. And then have people come in. Sometimes bodies explode. Gases is in them. You can't have a room full of that.
You know, while you on that virus thing, it was something I looked up today.
What's that, bro?
Now, according to the statistics, 24,000 people worldwide done died from coronavirus up to now since January.
Right.
But according to their same statistics, 60,000 people done died of regular flu.
So how you know the difference?
So where is this sensationalization coming from? If more people dying from regular flu than the coronavirus, why is all these people out here with masks on?
See, because you don't know. See, that's the problem. What they do is to throw the don't know out there. See, look, I got pollen is the worst time of year for me in life. Allergy season. So if I get the sinus drain down here, automatically I'm starting to think what? I got it. I got the packet. I got the Wuhan.
Hey,
because you know, and look.
Last week and I said that.
And look, right. And from what I hear, you know, people that just do Genesis 1:29, they may have a cough. But you cough now, it ain't the same cough.
Right.
No, I'm just saying, but people ain't, they don't ask you, bro, do you cough like that all the time? They like, hey, wait a minute.
Have you been Genesis 1:29?
Right, you been over and coughing now.
Hey, bro. I got a little bit of.
Right, you sleeping in that other room, you act like that again. You like, but I always act like this.
Shit, hey, man, I got a little food poisoning about a week or so ago. Man, I was throwing up, man. Man, I called my wife. I was like, get the thermometer.
Boy, you say check this
She
tip.
like, check my, because I'm sweating. I'm like, oh, this came out of nowhere.
Boy.
She like, well, what did you eat? And I told her, she like, that's your problem, boy. You ain't got nothing.
You ain't got it, you know.
Boy, the next morning, I took a nap, hopped up, was downstairs later that night. She like, ooh, I'm so glad you down there feeling better.
And I know you was like, I'm glad too.
So am I. I'm like, shoot.
But y'all, you know that's the difference. What you got down there?
Man, I'm sure sipping on some juice and trying to talk at the house.
Oh no, boy, start hacking.
I got the cough and the kids. It's got coronavirus. Running all around the house.
Boy, for a second you start thinking, wait a minute.
Do I?
Right. I sips this juice all the time.
And see, this is the thing with me. I don't doubt the Most High at all. But I know how much of a sinner I have been and am.
Yes, sir.
So I doubt me.
Right.
I doubt me, and I know I could be taken out for my foolishness at any time.
Yes,
So
sir.
it ain't doubting the Most High.
Yeah.
But I know what I've done to deserve death. So that's my fear.
Yes, sir. Cause look, you know, they know the difference when they hear you hacking like that. They like, no, you ain't supposed to be hacking off no Reggie like that. You got it. You got the package. That's just Reggie. No, Reggie is one cough, not 13 in a row. Let's get it,
But that's
y'all.
something to think about, y'all.
That's what I hear, y'all. You know.
The flu virus done killed double what the coronavirus done killed.
But you don't
But the
know. Y'all.
coronavirus got everything shut down.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So we know what it's from though, what they setting up. But y'all, let's just get this also. So Saul punished. I want to just get the sin that Saul died from, so we get clear understanding, y'all. Because the Most High say the wages of sin are death, and there's sins unto death. Like He names Moses' sin. The one that got you, that where you had to go up to the mountaintop was what you and Aaron did. And it say the same thing about Aaron. That was the sin unto death for you. You did some other things, but this is the one that I had to say enough for you.
Yes.
So there will be transgressions when the Most High say enough for you. Let's get that 1 Chronicles, I'm sorry. 1 Chronicles 10, 13, and 14. And then y'all, we're gonna get right, we're gonna clean back up Saul's death with 2 Samuel 1 and 1 of how David dealt with the man that told him Saul was dead. And y'all gonna see how that Saul was assisted in dying or this man, even if he was lying about how Saul died and just stumbled across and thought he was coming up on a lick. David dealt with him wisely and according to the law for what his own mouth condemned him. So you see that Melchizedek is working in David because everything that he deals with is the own condemnation of your own mouth. And that's what the Messiah's gonna use on Judgment Day. Your own condemnation of your own mouth. It's just gonna be your imagination telling you what to do. Because you got to give yourself instructions. Now go in there and buy the duct tape and the shovel and the line. You finna kill somebody and bury him.
Because that's the first thing they go back to see what he bought at the store.
We know what your mind told you.
He got all the
Yes, sir.
components.
All the ingredients. Sir.
Then go into your hard drive and see.
Boy.
How do I murder somebody?
Right. And
How do I dispose of a body?
And keep the stank down.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's get it, y'all. 1 Chronicles 10, 13, and 14. Who that's up?
You know, me today.
Ezra.
1 Chronicles chapter 10, verse, you said
13, 14. We're going to quick hit of
verse
that.
13. So Saul died for his transgression.
What did he do?
Died for his transgression,
Uh-huh.
which he committed against the Lord, even against the word of the Lord, which he kept not, and also for acts and counsel of one that had a familiar spirit, to inquire of it.
So read verse 13 again and we'll see why Saul was put to death and what separates this king from King David as far as his transgressions. Because even after the Lord quit speaking to him, he went even lower. So you're going to go to the dark side and you're going to have the dark side contact the Most High for you. Is that crazy or what? That's like asking the devil, can you tell God I'm sorry and I didn't mean to get in the car with you? Can you go tell him for me? You picked me up and you made me do it. Can you go tell God you made me do it? The devil be like, you on your own, partner. That's right.
When I said I wanted to sit above.
Well, come on, boy. Let's get it. Where we at?
Verse 13 again. So Saul died for his transgression, which he committed against the Lord, even against the word of the Lord, which he kept not, and also for acts and counsel of one that had a familiar spirit, to inquire of it, and inquired not of the Lord. Therefore he slew him, and turned the kingdom unto David, the son of Jesse.
See, so the kingdom was turned over at that point because it was already turned over at that point when Saul went to the witch of Endor. So y'all, we have to understand what that means. Sit on, bro.
It was actually before that when he didn't kill off
all the seed of Amalek. And look how he was thinking about that. See, that's a different than Saul and Jonathan leaving a house alive, leaving one left alive. Saul took all of the cattle too, and he gave the Most High their cattle, left over from the spoil, not the firstling from Israel. He like, no, I ain't gonna give you Israel's cattle. I'll give you their cattle that you told me to kill all them. So Saul's mind was twisted up bad about trying, and that's going another communication route.
And he kept the garments, he wanted the clothes.
Yeah, all of that, he kept that too.
Kept
so
all that stuff,
just hard-headed. Saul was Bokeem Woodbine hard-headed. So we see exactly what happened to him, why he got took out of her. The Lord didn't forget it, and that's why David said, my sin is always before your face. So was Saul. He like, I'm gonna let you live a little bit longer. You just keep on digging a hole. And this is the same thing we talk about. He said, I will speak to you in dreams. Ain't that what he told us?
Sir.
In visions and whatever. Ain't that the last day prophet? Your son and your daughter shall prophesy. So we gonna prophesy through the scripture. It ain't told us to go grab no other materials and talk about worship him because you see it in the Bible. It does not mean worship it. Just like Saul couldn't go to the witch of Endor, the communication was through prophets, dreams, visions, Urim and Thummim. If you bring anything else into this book talking about it's in the Bible somewhere and don't show where it was used, you're hustling the people and you have guile in your mouth. Anybody say anything out there too bad?
So far, so good.
Okay, let's get it up. Let's speed it up, y'all. Now, David's heart on Saul's death. Give me some 2 Samuel 1:1. Y'all just setting this up, and then we'll get right to David's problem, and we're going to see how David, on his deathbed, was it anything about just punching and grinding was all the thing on David's mind? Or was it being righteous for the Most High? And when he failed, he got up, dusted himself off, because I don't recount nowhere of two adulteries on David. I don't count nowhere of 2 times numbering Israel.
No, he repented and turned from it.
2 Samuel 1.
2 Samuel chapter 2. No, you on chapter 1, right?
Yeah, chapter 1.
Chapter 1, verse 1.
What it say?
Now it came to pass after the death of Saul when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had abode 2 days in Ziklag.
Yeah, Ziklag.
It came even to pass on the 3rd day that behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent and earth upon his head. And so it was when he came to David that he fell to the earth and did obeisance.
So this don't mean he worshiped David obeisance or what you call it, obedience, the same way or however you pronounce it. But basically all he did was, "O King, live forever." That's all he did. He did not worship David and call David the Most High. So a lot of times you'll see men showing reverence, but that same thing Paul told you, give honor to who honor is due. You go in the courtroom, don't go in there with your hat on with a toothpick hanging out and say, "Hey man, not guilty." There's gonna be some problems.
You're gonna be guilty.
You're black robe-ish, whatever you say. It's gonna be some problems.
Your black robe.
Go ahead.
Verse 3.
What it say?
And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel am I escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, that the people are fled from the battle.
Running again, David. Just like when you was a shepherd boy, Israel hightailing it. I'm talking about breastplate sore from them kneecaps hitting them in the chest, they running so fast. Go ahead, bro.
And many of the people also are fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also. And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son be dead? And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear.
So we see right here, remember how Saul died? He leaned upon his spear, right? So the boys tell the thing, he like, I walked up on him, he about to commit suicide right then. Go ahead, bro.
And lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me and called unto me. And I answered, Here I am. And he said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me. For anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood upon him and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was on his arm, and I have brought them hither unto my Lord.
So he say, look, he was gonna die, ain't no doubt about it. He was dead, man. So I just finished him off like he requested me, and I got the crown. See, I'm bringing it back to you. But see, is this all a setup? Did he just happen to find Saul while he was dead, or witness Saul falling on his sword, rub some dirt in his head, tore his clothes like he been scrapping?
Right.
I got him.
And then is he looking for good favor?
Yeah.
Because we see David had just slain the Amalek, didn't he?
Right.
So is he looking for good graces, but through a deceitful heart?
Yep.
Let's read some more.
Verse 10. Verse 11. Then David took hold on his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted until eve, for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword.
So we see David immediately think what he did. Now, do y'all think he should have done that after the way Saul wanted to kill him? He renting his clothes, or is this for Jonathan, or is he looking like a slain of Israel is dead? No matter how we look at this evil, it's all of it.
Because one, Saul was anointed of the Most High.
Yes, sir.
Two, Jonathan was his friend, like a brother. And then Israel is people.
Yeah. That's a shepherd, y'all. Verse 13.
Verse 13. And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, How was thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?
So David don't care about you being an Amalekite. You know the rules of Israel. You know how we get down.
It's like how you become so brave.
Yes, sir. I mean, I could see your chest plate is bruised. So you was doing some running too. But you a killer man on his deathbed, will you? Let's read some more.
Straight killer.
Verse 14. Verse 15. And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died. And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth hath testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed.
See, so go ahead. We can stop there, but you can read that next verse though.
Verse 17. And David lamented with this lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son.
Verse 18.
Also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher.
You see, David told us to study Jasher. So what I care about, some Negro don't like to read it. Don't care about the book. I don't care nothing about that because the Bible say you can do it. First prove it wrong or point to the point that where it's breaking the law. Y'all, I'm not talking about an event that happened. They need to prove that it's breaking the law, statute, judgments, and commandments for it to be put down. Not because you don't like, because it say a giant was 400 ells. Give me the correct measurement of an ell. I don't care because how you believe one man built a boat 3 football fields and a half long by himself, him and his sons. You accept that, but this you can't accept, and you picking this and that. I don't believe because of that. Well, in the record twice, 2 witnesses it say read out of it. I ain't read nowhere it say don't trust the book of Jasher. All I hear is greasy mouth Negroes saying it. They can't even pronounce it. That one boy called himself third in heaven, called it was Jasper. You talking about some heathen in a trailer park. No, I'm talking about the book of Jasher.
Jasper. When he part of Isley brothers.
Right, and your problem, man, with us is with the Bible.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you to read from it.
That's what it tells us. Jude tells us to read Enoch. Is it not written? Coming with 10,000 of his saints.
You don't believe the Bible.
You don't believe the Bible.
That's the bottom line.
So we know you don't care about Jasher or the book of Enoch. You don't believe the Bible. It's problems you got with that. You're saying the Romans put that in there. So how for the life of you can anybody listen to a Negro like this talking like this? I don't understand that for a life of me how this leavening found its way around here with that type of kindergarten teaching.
Where your book at?
How you even hold the scriptures and say
And you don't believe it. See, that's why we started off this class with how pure the law was. But if you let them teach you a word etymology versus what the law say about that word and how it has to be measured, male, female, free and bond, rich and poor, if you don't do that, you're a cheater.
Right.
Where we at? We finished that? 18, that was good?
Yeah, 18. You want me to hit 19?
No, I want you to just hit 2 Samuel 9 and 9. And this is what David remembered his covenant that he made with Jonathan and with his son, his offspring. That's what I want to be always remember, that David remembered his request to Jonathan. Hit that 2 Samuel 9 and 9.
All right, 2 Samuel chapter 9, verse 9. Then the king called to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said unto him, I have given unto thy master's son all that pertained to Saul and to all his house. Thou therefore and thy sons and thy servants shalt till the land for him.
For who?
For him. And thou shalt bring in the fruits, that thy master's son may have food to eat. But
Mephibosheth.
Mephibosheth, thy master's son, shall eat bread always at my table. Now Ziba, how you pronounce it?
Ziba.
Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then said Ziba unto the king, according to all that my lord the king hath commanded his servant, so shall the servant do. As for Mephibosheth, said the king, he shall eat at my table as one of the king's sons. And Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Makar. And all that dwelt in the house of Ziba was servants unto Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for he did eat continually at the king's table, and was lame on both his feet.
So this is what would happen if y'all get into, and I'll grab the scripture as well. What happened was Jonathan had a son that was crippled. He fell off a high wall and broke his ankle. So he was basically crippled his rest of his life. He had a son. So this house of Zikah, he had so many 15 sons. He said, y'all gonna be servants for him, whatever he need for the rest of life. But as a matter of fact, he sit at the king's table and eat till he dead. He sit right here like he's my son and personal family. This was Jonathan's son. He said, and he said, he sit here every day till he ain't got no more breath in his body. That's the covenant I made with his dad. And see, that's the love we talking about. David is mirroring the Messiah, because he said, I never leave you like that. He told John, he's keeping his covenant and the man is dead. But you know, people hear, because, and David judging you by what's come out of your mouth. He said, that's what I told Jonathan when we made a covenant. I'll take care of your offspring. And this is Jonathan's son. But I'll get the scripture when David asks, is it anybody left of the house of Saul? You know, and as we roll on down, I'll pull that back up, and you'll see that he had this son right here. And David said, send him to me. I need to meet with him. I got to come. And see, 9 and 9, he turns over the house of Saul back to this son. So when we get to Nathan, when he told David, I gave you all of Israel, their house, David is turning back over the kingdom to this son. Everything right here belongs to your father. The Lord, I'm giving it back to you because I promised it to your daddy, Jonathan. I'm giving it all back to you, and I'm going to start mine off of me. I'm not going to ride off of Saul's kingdom. So when we get into this about what Nathan truly was saying to David and how David responded, we're going to see if this a horny heart or if this a man. So far, we see how he playing by the rules, ain't it?
Giving alms to the poor.
If I didn't kill Saul, what you doing killing? Hell, he was in a bad state when I had to play that guitar to get them demons off of him. And you put your hand on the Lord's anointing. I didn't do that. As many times, and I could. And not only this, y'all see where the Lord put Saul in David's hands 2 or 3 times. One time David just cut his skirt off.
It's 9 and 1.
9 and 1, and showed he 9 and 1. And so he showed him his son. He said, I could have got you, Saul. And Saul, look, one time he hit him while he was in a cave taking a dump. He said he had pulled his skirt around. That means he's just squatting down. Pull your robe up and you squat down. He said, I caught you grunting mid-grunt and could have got you.
Who can defend themselves in that state?
Like this. Could have got him in. And Saul like, boy. So he didn't take him then. And then you gonna take him? No, you up to no good. You just told me what you just did out of your own mouth.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. What to say? You say verse 1 of that 9?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's where we at. I just had jumped down. Go ahead, that 9 and 1.
2 Samuel chapter 9 verse 1. And David said, is there yet any that is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake?
That I may do what?
Show him kindness for Jonathan's sake.
Okay.
And there was of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba. And when they had called him unto David, the king said unto him, art thou Ziba? And he said, thy servant he is.
Is he?
Thy servant is he. And the king said, is there not yet any of the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of God unto him? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan hath yet a son, which is lame on his feet.
So right here, he's keep asking, is there any of the house that I may show the kindness of who? Of the Messiah. Look, he's knowing I got to keep my promise. Now, any son probably thinking, I don't want none of what the father got because he killed my daddy, you know. Right. But David's saying, look, you know what your daddy's about. Not Jonathan, but you know what your granddaddy was about. Right. And why your father had to die. But I need to show him some kindness. You know, the Lord does have mercy.
Still giving alms.
Now read on down, bro.
Yes, sir. Go on down to 9 then, yeah.
Verse 4.
Uh-huh.
And the king said unto him, where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, Behold, he is in the house of Machar, the son of Amiel, and how you pronounce that? Lodebar. Then King David sent and fetched him out of the house of Machar, the son of Amiel, from Lodebar. Now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come unto David, he fell on his face and did reverence. And David said, Mephibosheth. And he answered, Behold thy servant. And David said unto him, Fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually.
So you see what he restored to him? All is your father, you get all this in Leviticus 25 when it talks about the year of the Jubilee, when you give it all back. David gave it back early. He like, look, man, this your father's kingdom. You know, I'm giving you back all the land that belonged to him, all that go back to you. All this go back. And y'all see, this the heart of David. This ain't no heart just trying to get over, you know, which he could have. Because like I say, the Lord put Saul in his hand a couple times that he could have took Saul out, and he refused. So I'm talking about right up on him, slip past his guards. So you know Saul, when he saw that piece of cloth, he was like, is this man an angel or a ghost? How does he slip up on me? Where my guards at?
Got up on him and cut off the hem of his garment.
Yeah. And showed it to him. And when he looked back, he like, show this. And then he looking at his men. What was y'all doing? You know what we was doing. Sleep on duty.
Yep. Abandoned posts.
Let's move it on, y'all. Now that we got that all clear concerning Saul, let's get right into David's situation, y'all. We almost done with this. We got some one-hitters, and this last chapter will tie in all of the remaining thought process and ways of why David's heart was like mine own, Messiah speaking. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get right into 1 Chronicles. Is that what I want? Yep. 1 Chronicles 21. Start at verse 1. Y'all, we're going to move through this, and there's going to be some very important things here. And right now, y'all, that's why, y'all, and this the sad part about it. As much as David wrote about the law and all the Psalms, knew the alphabet, and always talk about his laws before me continually, then how do you look at that situation or you try to bring in a form of multiple wives like it was done recklessly? And we see the character of this man. This is what I'm saying. They water things down to belittle them to men of base state, of low regard. They try to put every man in that situation so they can have at it. Just like that y'all see in the series Ruthless. They're up to number 7 now, and it says ruthless as the first 6.
Well, that's just right here, so they misery love company.
Yeah.
But look, when you read that about David and Saul's wives, you know what I'm saying? Because I used to believe it from that perspective too.
Yeah.
You never really sit and trip off of it like, hold on, wait a minute. If David married to his daughter, and then you saying you got his wives right here, well, that contradicts Leviticus 18.
Yes, sir. 20 and 14 as well.
You know what I'm saying? Are you saying that the Lord, he would have gave David more wickedness?
I'm saying that's what the Bible say, nigga. That's what it say. You see it, don't you? You see it, don't you?
Right then, you start to see people just pushing their own agenda.
They're pushing their own
They'll take
agenda.
anything that they think they're saying that fits their agenda and push it. But nobody ever questioned. Hold on, wait a minute.
If you ain't studying, you ain't gonna
know so much about it.
Right.
Flat out.
If you doing it,
If it was truth, you wouldn't be defending it. You wouldn't have to keep saying stuff
every
about
day.
it.
That's the only thing you
It
talk
would reign
about.
supreme.
And then when you get down to it, then what they're saying is you could do polygyny any type of way you want to do it.
Any way you want to do
Any
it.
way you want to do it, because what they saying
So it ain't, it's rules
this is
to
how
everything.
Right. You can have
It's
sisters.
rules to everything.
It's rules, y'all. That's
You can
why we're
have mama
saying.
and sisters,
Right.
mama and daughter.
But if you notice, the same ones are doing that. Like it's saying, they don't talk about the law requirements for it. Those are made up.
they just like Nike, just do it.
Just do it. It's legal, but then they make up the rules according to how you perform it. Well, the Bible says how to perform it. And you sure can't use David in your escape, and you sure can't use Solomon. You may say, yeah, Solomon practiced it, but what was Solomon down for when we see what's for his offspring, y'all? And this is what we're talking about, for your offspring. What comes after you. You got to leave a legacy. You ain't gonna live forever. You want this left for your children, this type of behavior behind them. But look, that process is we just make babies, get rid of the women, and to get the babies, so there's no legacy.
You ain't no worse than those that, you ain't no better than those that killed the Messiah. Let our sins be on our children.
Boy, come on.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
You're bringing in a brood of unrighteous seed.
And then, you know what I'm saying, you see how they use the word bosom, Daniel.
Yes, sir. We finna get into all of that. We got it here, and we got all the scripture we're gonna use.
Right here.
See, and it's the same way, y'all. We're not doing it only to attack that. We're just letting know on the line that there's 4 sides: free and bond, male and female. It has to apply to that based on the subject matter. If you change the subject matter and people don't know, you know, they be hollering right there in his bosom. We got some problem with the Messiah being in the bosom of the Father. So was they doing something they shouldn't be?
Or it's being in Abraham, or being in Abraham's
bosom. Come on. Let's read some more. We're going to bring all of them up. Let's get it. 1 Chronicles 21. Let's get it. And 1.
1 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 1.
Right.
And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel.
So right here, a lot of people will say, right here, see this, you got the naysayers will say, right here, this is contradictory, you know, of what the other ones say, 2 Samuel 24 and 1. Somebody grab that real quick for me, 2 Samuel 24 and 1. Because the naysayers will say, because they only use the Bible to point out. But like I say, I already run through 100 contradictions of the Bible written by some Muslim. Went through every one of them. And what they call contradiction is just mere, don't know what the Bible is talking about, nor its rules of 2 witnesses, nor of subject matter, and law trumps word etymology. They have no clue of that. So this looks like contradiction, but it can be cleared up real easy. Go ahead, bro.
Is it against the law for David to number Israel?
Yeah,
Yes. And we'll see what, because the Most High ain't about numbers. And see, and never, you don't never give your enemy problem. And then, like I say, I send y'all out 2 by 2. 2 of y'all, 10,000 will fall at your right hand and at your left hand. So this is not about numbers. Even in the book of Judges, when all of the men, he said, whoever dip their head down and be gone, you don't need them. Out of, what was it, 3,000 men or whatever it was, he only ended up with 300. So he like, I don't need them. Them Negroes drinking so much water they can't fight at this point. Half of them got water intoxication. The other half is too heavy to walk now. 3 of them had to stop and piss. But just sipping a little water enough to move to the next location, you still in fight mode. Them the soldiers I need, so it ain't never been about numbers. Nor did we display and show arms in battle to no nation. It wasn't about numbers with the Most High. It's about power, because he say, I'll send an angel to fight the battle for you. Just like I sent him, we're going to see here where he sent him to David for what David did, but we're going to get into David's transgression. Let's get it, then we're going to back up to
like when Esau saw all them legions
yes,
of angels standing on the hill.
Yes, sir. Let's get some more.
This 2 Samuel chapter 24, verse 1.
And
again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel.
21, verse 1, right?
Yeah, and Satan.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to hit this 2 Samuel.
Where you at? Where I'm at?
2 Samuel.
Oh, you just hitting that other one. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, that's what I wanted, bro. I'm sorry, go ahead.
2 Samuel chapter 24, verse 1.
What did it say?
And again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, go, number Israel and Judah.
So right here, one says Satan stood up. The other one say the Lord caused him to go do it. But if you look, both of them, the problem is with Israel sinning. That's the problem. It got nothing to do with which voice told. He said, look, David wanted to do it. It was in his heart. So I just told him to go and do it. But the problem is not David or Satan saying anything. The problem is Israel. See, if we look at both of them, and Satan stood up against Israel. Now to provoke David. Now when you read the other verse we just read, the 2 Samuel, how did that start off?
And again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel.
Who was he kindled against?
Against Israel.
So the problem is with Israel, so to speak, as a whole, but David just was the scapegoat for Satan to use him to go do it. The problem is Israel want to be represented with numbers.
Right.
And go out on street corners and show people we got as more numbers than this. Like how they do now, 1,500 people standing on the street corner hollering and cussing out somebody. Where the script say, I'm sending y'all out by how many?
2.
At the most 3.
And you send folks to flight.
And you will send them to flight. Don't care nothing about 15, 20 standing on the corner, 5 that's right men, and 6 whole assigned men's, and 2 cussing out men's. What that said in here?
You let them know what they need.
And 6 of them wanted by the law.
Right. So I just want to do that, but get back to the Chronicles and we'll finish reading what David
First
did.
Chronicles chapter 21 verse 1 again. And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel. And David said to Joab and to the rulers of the people, go, number Israel from Beersheba even to Dan.
For time's sake, let's skip down. Y'all read it all to verse 8.
Verse 8.
Verse 7, I'm sorry.
Verse 7. And Yahweh was displeased with this thing. Therefore he smote Israel.
Who got smote?
Israel.
See, so that's what the problem was in the beginning.
What verse was that?
Verse 8.
We jump down.
Verse 7. I'm sorry, verse 7.
Yeah.
Go ahead, verse 8. First Chronicles 21 and 8.
Verse 8. And David said unto Yahweh, I have sinned greatly.
What have I done?
Sinned greatly.
See, this is what David does off the top. That's what makes his heart so pure. He acknowledge when sin comes about, yeah, I did it. I did it. Ain't no excuse for it. I did it. Not see, what the law say. You got 2 witnesses that seen me number Israel. Wasn't none of that debating bull crap. It's right off like 1 John 1. If we acknowledge our sin, he is faithful to forgive us of our sin.
That's right.
But if we don't acknowledge our transgression, then we sorry we got caught.
See,
And then there's no repentance.
Right, he had told me.
There's no forgiveness.
Go ahead, bro. Verse 8 again.
Verse 8. And David said unto Yahweh, I have sinned greatly because I have done this thing. But now I beseech thee, do away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. And the Most High spake unto Gad, David's seer, saying, go and tell David, saying, thus saith the Most High, I offer thee 3 things.
Ooh, boy, I'm finna let you choose your own poison since you acknowledge that you did a sin. Well, you know there's punishment. And this is what we're talking about. When men train you about David, but don't train you his punishment, they glory in his in his bad behavior. They're actually glorying in his bad behavior and point to it right there. See, don't care if it's bad behavior. They just saying, it satisfied me to find him with more than one wife, whether it's bad or not.
Because he's the king.
Because he's the king.
So, since he has authority, he's above the law? No. By no means.
He can be an infidel just like you are.
Yes, sir. Hit it like verse 9.
Verse 9. And the Most High spake unto Gad, David's seer, saying, go and tell David, saying, thus saith the Most High, I offer thee 3 things, choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee. So Gad came to David and said unto him, thus saith the Most High, choose thee either 3 years of famine or 3 months to be destroyed before thy foes, while that the sword of thine enemies overtaketh thee, or else 3 days the sword of the Most High, even the pestilence in the land, and the angel of the Most High destroying throughout all the coasts of Israel. Now therefore advise thyself what word I shall bring again to him that sent me. And David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait.
Boy, ain't none of this look good. Whatever I choose, it ain't no good.
Man, that's a hard one.
Which one do I choose?
Get it over.
The Philistines gonna come up in here, and y'all have to think they're not just gonna kill David and it's gonna be over with. They're coming to put Israel down. Go ahead.
And David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait. Let me fall now into the hand of the Most High, for very great are his mercies. But let me not fall into the hand of man.
See, and we just had read that previously where David talked about it again.
Right.
Don't let me fall into the hand of man.
Amalekites.
Let me fall into the hand of the Most High. At least I know where my judgment stand.
Right.
But man don't care. You fall in the hand of man, it'll be just like it was till like that boy that hunted that brother down and shot him about jogging. Talking about we making a citizen's arrest. But their other partner, a lawyer, was filming the event. He the one turned the video in.
Hoping
because
to
he
get them
like,
off.
no, well, he was looking thinking they killed that nigga. So he may be from his slick point of view, I'm assured that I didn't have nothing to do with it. Now they talking about investigating him.
Right.
See, because to him, he said, I thought it was stand your ground, even though they confronted the brother. He tried to run the other way. They confront him. He grabbed the gun. They call that standing your ground. Somebody coming up to you with a pistol,
Right.
blocking your way in a truck. You
I
would.
get where I get
I
my
mean,
hands.
I'm trying to grab the gun. That you gonna kill me? You want to kill me? So he thought. And then he started, I guess, thinking about it. I better turn these heathens in. But it was going undercover because all of the attorney general was done. I don't want the case. I don't want the case.
Yeah, because they was all in cahoots. They were all, he was an investigator for that whole department.
But you see, there's no honor among thieves because I kept wondering who gave him the video. It was their own partner who was a lawyer.
Ex-lawyer.
And then everybody saying it cannot be, it ain't gonna work for a citizen's arrest because you have to witness the crime and
Right.
it have to be in the same vicinity. They never saw what he took. They only heard
Right.
it was some nigga running through the neighborhood.
Right.
They jumped in the truck with pistols. That's vigilanteism and that's hunting niggas.
Right, but see, in his first response, he said he thought turning over the video would clear his friends of the
Yes, sir. That's what he's saying.
He was hoping that it was gonna clear them, showing that we saw the nigga running. We got him in the process of running.
He started swinging on us.
As he started fighting. So we had reasonable
for citizens arrest.
to make a citizen arrest and to shoot him because now it turned from him. He is now defending himself
Right.
with the shotgun.
We all men up in here. How many of y'all, somebody pull a strap on you and tell you finna do something for something you ain't do.
And you ain't got nothing. And you ain't got nothing. What you gonna do? That's like somebody put a pistol on you and tell you somebody put a pistol on you coming out the steakhouse and tell you to get in the trunk. Nope, I'm gonna be dead in front of the steakhouse. I'm not gonna let you take me to the graveyard.
We finna do this right here, right
Kill
now.
me right here so at least my family know what happened. But you think I'm gonna crawl in the trunk? I've been begging since you walked me to the
They
trunk.
gonna kill me if I
And you
get
still
this
put
trunk.
me in the trunk.
No,
Kill me right here. Kill me right here. Boy, you get in the trunk, you know it's over because now fear is driving them because you so scared. That's what drive them. But like you said, Elijah, he thought about it, but then he probably went and looked, what is stand your ground and what does it mean for a citizen's arrest? He's like, oh shit, this ain't gonna work. You cannot do a citizen's arrest and you wasn't there. They just got the word. I think we just seen a nigga running through the neighborhood. That's the only word they had and they jumped in their truck. So he's probably looking at it now. I'll say it but he know he ain't got a leg to stand on. You cannot make a citizen's arrest and you wasn't there. They don't know what he stole. They didn't pull no tools out of his waistband.
They like, we don't have no call reporting a robbery.
Robbery.
A burglary.
In the last 2 months that y'all lied about and said. So he's trying to, he may have started off like you said, Elijah, but he's trying to get out
he
from
trying
up
to backpedal
underneath
now.
it. But believe me, he getting a death threat calls
He
too.
was following.
Because he was
He was following filming.
You are a willing participant. You're a willing participant. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get back in this. We ain't got much time. Where we at?
I was at verse 10. No,
You
we all the way down.
3 years of family.
13.
You down to
14.
13.
14.
Yeah, it was 14.
Yeah, 14. You right there.
So the Most High sent pestilence upon Israel, and there fell of Israel 70,000 men.
Look, y'all, this for one event for numbering Israel, 70,000 died. And when you get in there, the Most High tell you why I don't want Israel number. And like I told you, they the sand of the sea. You can't give nobody the accurate number of the sand of the sea. Who know the number of the sand of the sea? How you gonna report back and say this all the number? They tried to count it. Like I say, in the two events, you're going to see a different set of numbers. But in certain events, somebody wasn't counted. Like verse 6, Levi and Benjamin was not counted. So when you read the other Chronicles, it's going to be like so many men missing from that count. But when you discount the tribes of Levi and Benjamin, the numbers add up to the same for both writers. There ain't no contradiction in it. It's just studying the matter, not buddying the matter for some loins. Let's get it. Where we at?
Lonely.
Yeah.
Verse 15. And Yahweh sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy it. And as he was destroying, the Most High beheld, and he repented him of the evil, and said to the angel that destroyed, it is enough. Stay now thine hand. And the angel of the Most High stood by the threshing floor, or Ornan, the Jebusite.
So right here, the Most High sent the angel, and they say he repented of the evil. This don't mean sin. Repent is not sin. Repent means to turn away from a bad behavior. Say, so he turned from the evil, which it was, the evil was what Israel caused. And he caused him to have to do that. So he's turning from Israel behavior. It's nothing to do with the Lord. They broke a commandment, and he had to put the heat on them. So at the point, just like in Genesis, he said, it grieved the heart that he had to destroy man before the flood. It's the same way. He like, no, that's enough. That's enough. Stop it. Stop it, because the angel was going through. Hard-headed nigga. Hard-headed nigga. Hard-headed nigga. Come on. Stay your hand. Let's read what David had to say, verse 16.
Verse 16. And David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of the Most High stand between the earth and the heaven, having a drawn sword in his hand stretched out over Jerusalem. Then David and the elders of Israel, who were clothed in sackcloth, fell upon their faces. And David said unto Yahweh, is it not that I that commanded the people to be numbered? Even I it is that have sinned and done evil indeed. But as for these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, O Lord, my God, be upon me and on my father's house, but not on the people, that they should be plagued. And the angel of the Most High commanded Gad to say to David, that David should go up and set up an altar unto the Most High in the threshing floor of Ornan, the Jebusite. And David went up at the saying of Gad, which he spake in the name of the Most High. And Ornan turned back and saw the angel, and his 4 sons with him hid themselves. Now Ornan was threshing wheat. And as David came to Ornan, Ornan looked and saw David, and went out of the threshing floor, and bowed himself to David with his face to the ground. Then David said to Ornan, grant me the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar therein unto the Most High. Thou shalt grant it me for the full price, that the plague may be stayed from the people.
So you see David's heart here. David didn't push his sin off on somebody else like you see these crazy Negroes do. They push their sin off on somebody else, just like in that movie Ruthless. Put it on that innocent boy that didn't have nothing to do. Then had him building birdhouses, and the boy cleansed and went all up in it, and ain't did nothing. And you'll have this same type of thought when you put a Negro in charge. He'll be the one to commit the sin, but he makes somebody else answer for it. So David is opposite of that. His heart is different. He's a Lord, I numbered Israel. Why is Israel paying the price? You done killed 70,000 of them. I did this. How about me and my father's house? What's left of me and all my children pay for this? Not Israel. That's a good-hearted man. I did this, not Israel. I did it.
That's one that looks on the wealth of his brethren.
And the Lord say, you mean that go build an altar, do what I tell you to do, and offer sacrifices for that sin. But then again, twice David didn't admit it. I did it. But when you hear a Negro won't admit his sin, and he give a false prophecy and then say, oh, the reason the prophecy didn't work is because all y'all would have never experienced the word.
And then on top of that, if you notice,
because y'all would have been, if the prophet failed, we all would have been dead. I mean, or the Most High would have picked us up. Y'all wouldn't have never got a chance to hear the word. How about they'd have heard it in the kingdom? Or been born in the kingdom? But instead of you niggas saying we'd have made a false prophet, we up here in the year 2000, now we in 2020. And them Negroes still running that, oh, it was just like Jonah. The Most High knew he wasn't going to come in 2000. Well, what you niggas standing up there for if you already knew the prophecy of Jonah? It don't make sense, do it? If you going to use the prophecy of Jonah, you shouldn't be up there. You should be like, no, the Lord ain't gonna do that because we got Israelites don't even know. Some of them still in church. Some of them still Muslims. What you on the roof for?
And in Jonah, the animals eating fast.
Boy, come on, boy.
Huh? Where was your animals at? They wasn't up on the
Yo, but this how Negroes, when they don't want to acknowledge they wrong and just put it off on the people, as then they make people the two more full hell a child than they are. Go ahead, read some more, bro.
I just wanted to make a point how David also, when he bought the threshing floor for full price.
He wasn't
trying to get no deal, no hookups, no nothing. He said, I'm gonna pay the full price for this.
Hook me up. Come on, man. We commandment keepers.
Come on, bruh.
Right, bruh.
Bruh.
Give me that royalty discount.
Come on, Aki.
Yeah, you Aki now.
Right. My brother. Come on, man. Let me get the hookup. See, I need a deal for the Lord, man. He killing. The Lord done killed 70,000. Send that angel down here, man. I need a break, dog. Give me something. Can I get something on the altar? He said, I give you what you charge. I need to stop this plague that's happening to Israel right now because I'm responsible. I'm responsible for these dead souls, and that's on me. And that's another reason why he couldn't build a temple. This blood on David's hand.
Right.
See, because all we be thinking is you do something dirty, then the Lord will reward you for it. Like let you build a temple. You know, or be holy next to him with your wicked behavior. Let's read some more. Let's get this finished up, y'all.
Yes, sir. Verse 23.
What it say?
And Ornan said unto David, take it to thee, and let my lord the king do that which is good in his eyes. Lo, I give thee the oxen also for burnt offerings, and the threshing instruments for wood, and the wheat for the meat offering. I give it all. And King David said unto Ornan, nay, but I will verily buy it for the full price. Don't give me nothing.
Don't give me
I
nothing.
ain't looking for no hand. And this also goes with the law of a just balance.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
Just
sir.
balance.
the same thing Abraham did when he was buying that cave.
Yes.
Yes,
The
sir.
cave.
Yes, sir.
They tried to give it to him for free, but he was like,
Right.
nah, what you want for?
What you charge for?
Yo, and this is why we tell many people out there that you have your own businesses, different things. You know, you may make chains, t-shirts, and different things. Get your costs for what you charge. If I can't afford that cost, I'll find somebody cheaper. But steady your cost.
I'm telling you.
If it costs that for you to make it, you're not obligated to give Israel breaks.
I'm telling you.
That's
because
not
what you
in
do-
the scripture. What it is if you do that, if there's a portion for it that you want to give as alms, you do that. But you don't owe Israel. Now you make t-shirts, you don't owe Israel 50 shirts off the top. Where that's written at?
I'm telling you, you won't have no business.
Oh, you won't have no business with these Negroes you
I'm
dealing
telling
with.
you, Israel will not respect your business for a discount.
Boy, come on.
I know.
You dealing with the hookup man.
I'm still a damn starving artist.
Boy, look here. Israel is the hookup masters. You don't think gonna be on Judgment Day? People gonna be looking for Moses.
It's one thing to give to those who don't have to give.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's one thing if you want to give from your heart. But if it's all for your business,
Right.
you ain't gonna have no
lead you
business.
in that.
Lead you in
The
that.
Spirit will lead you. Okay, I'm gonna hook them up because they really ain't got it.
Right.
The Spirit will lead you
Right.
to that.
Right.
But there's
But
no.
if they come on, dog.
Now do it for Israel. Do it for Israel. What that means is you gonna be hungry, you gonna be satisfied, and I ain't.
Right.
Because it's the same thing with that compound living. We throw all our stuff in together. That ain't what Acts talking about. It says they all had things common. People had land, they sold it to make sure everybody had things
Everybody
common.
had the
it
same
wasn't
thing.
everybody.
It was nobody over another brother.
Enough. And they gave stuff. I got 2 TVs and you ain't got none. I give you one of mine. Now you ain't gonna get the 60-inch. You may get the 43. All we gotta do is clean the dust off it and put
But
some
you gonna
batteries
have a
in the
TV.
room in the remote. But you got a TV. So we had all things common. It's not there that you throwed everything into one pile and everybody joined in. Somebody is gonna get the short end of the stick.
Always.
And it's gonna be the one that's sitting in the chief seat that ain't worked or filled out a W-2 in years. He hope it works. And not only that, when they get it out, then they ration it back to you. How I'm gonna give you a whole 2 baskets of food and you give me back enough, a happy meal to split with my family?
You gonna leave me to sin.
Boy. Let's get some more, y'all. Where we at?
I guess I ain't gonna make it to the kingdom.
Let's get it, Elijah. Where you at, verse 24?
And King David said unto Ornan, Nay, but I will verily buy it for the full price, for I will not take that which is thine for the Most High, nor offer burnt offerings without cost. So David gave to Ornan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight. And David built there an altar unto the Most High, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings, and called upon the Most High. And he answered him from heaven by fire upon the altar of burnt offering.
And that lets you know it's a received offering, because he sent fire and that burned it up, just like he did with Elijah. That shows that the Most High is acceptable of yours. And then look, like he said, I can't offer, no hookup on, for pay for this.
It's not
I'm not
just
gonna do
balance.
it. Right. It's not a just balance. That's what Saul did also. Instead of giving the Lord the same sacrifice like this from the sheep of Israel, he took the sheep from Amalek. The animals were supposed to be killed. He saved them alive to get it to the Lord. Lord say, what you gonna give me them supposed to be dead sheep, huh? So you don't have to take away from it. Okay.
Your mind ain't right, man.
Your mind ain't right. So Saul thinking in his mind, why should I let all them sheep die when I can give it to the Lord? He like, I told you to kill everything. Don't let nothing move, not animal or nothing. And then you gonna bring back the animal and give it to me like you doing me a favor.
Obviously didn't want it if he tells you to destroy it all.
Boy, come on. Let's get some more lights.
Verse 27. And the Most High commanded the angel, and he put up his sword again into the sheath thereof.
Look, and David hadn't got busy building. That's what made the angel put that sword back up. Correction on this. He like, put it up here. He got his mind right. Go ahead.
Yeah, he good. At that time, when David saw that the Most High had answered him in the threshing floor of Ornan, the Jebusite, then he sacrificed there. For the tabernacle of the Most High, which Moses made in the wilderness, and the altar of the mount of the burnt offering, were at the season in the high place of Gibeon. But David could not go before it to inquire of Yahweh, for he was afraid because of the sword of the angel of the Most High.
David one play, he like, look, that angel ain't playing. And when you see supernatural go through there and heads flying off, you know this ain't a force to be reckoned with. That's why I said, don't be worried about nobody who can destroy flesh. It's body and soul. But you see the protection that he had. And when David said, let the Lord fall, man, he said, okay, this is what you want. Sent that angel. Go handle some business. And he had to tell him to slow down. Because look, it's just Ecclesiastes 8:8. When the death angel come in that war, that's not a war you can discharge. That war ain't going to be discharged when he come. Because he coming for business. So y'all, this is what we're talking about, David's heart in this whole matter. As we seeing all the way through, is this a heart of a man of God, or is this a man just really thinking about just rolling in the hay? Having his way in the hay. Is this what he's doing all this for?
Can't be.
Because he showed when they went out there to try to get 200 Philistines foreskin. You know how close you got to get to that? First you got to kill him, then you got to cut it off. 200.
That's close combat. That's close hand to hand combat.
50 feet away.
No, that's close hand to hand combat there.
No, that ain't sunflower seeds and a blunt after midnight. Let's get it, y'all. So that's the first sin, and this is the ones where we talk about that where David caused Israel and his own family members to suffer behind his actions because he's the king. Y'all, and this is what we're talking about. Those who are in charge, how the script go, to much is given, much is expected. This is a king. You've been given the house of Israel, you've been given the keys to the chosen people of the Most High, and you gonna act this way? What the rest of the nation's gonna think?
If the head is messed up, the body's...
Look, you might as well be Donald Trump. All you talking about is grabbing between the legs, ain't it? Every one of their kingdom, not Joe Biden got some trouble. Coming up about him grabbing now.
Every time one of them come up,
It's the same thing, y'all.
I mean, in so much that you now predict it. You just see it coming. Okay, who finna go, who getting ready to turn on him now?
2 Samuel 12:1. Y'all, we're gonna get some clarity on this. And Zeb, you got the definition of bosom for me?
Yes, sir.
Because we're gonna hit, like y'all, we talk about baptism. You know, a lot of people bring up the Acts and say it must be water baptized. You gonna teach? Shalom, brother.
Shabbat shalom, brother.
So,
2 Samuel what?
2 Samuel, we're going to 2 Samuel 12:1. And y'all, so this is what we're talking about, y'all. This just David's mindset on this situation that's happening and what the Lord is doing to him. Y'all, see, the Lord will do things just to see how you react, to see if your mind, if you really love him. It's not tempting you with evil. But when he told you rightly can kill Saul because there's self-defense rules. He actually threw a jab. I'm not telling you, it's the same as when people think the Messiah was saying, if somebody strike you, turn the other cheek. Saul, this is a perfect example of him turning the other cheek, ain't it?
Yeah.
But then we show twice where he could have got Saul and he didn't.
Right.
He said, no, I'm gonna let the Lord get you. What you got, bro?
One of our chat family members is asking a question. They're asking, should we be participating in today's census being counted?
Yes, sir, because they counted the Messiah coming up to Jerusalem when he was 12 years old. They was counting in the census. So he wouldn't have you do anything. He even told them to pay taxes. You know, Peter asked, he said, they want us to pay taxes right here. He said, well, what's y'all job? They say, we fishermen. He said, cast your line out there and catch a fish. He didn't say you're going to catch some money. He said, catch a fish. And then when you open that fish mouth, guess what's in it? Money. And pay our way so we can get through. But it was a census when they was going up to Jerusalem when he was 12 years old. At that time, it was a census.
And then you have to think about it. The census gets money to your neighborhood.
Right.
If you ain't participating, those less fortunate than you, they suffering from that too.
And look, Israel was broken up at that time. We're not talking, see, that's the difference in knowing when you're in your own kingdom or you in somebody else's kingdom.
You in somebody else's kingdom.
You have to salute that house. And if they say, don't nothing move unless I get in on it, if a nickel bag sold, I want $2.50. Then that's what you better have, $2.50. Don't care nothing about that Rolls Royce you got in that driveway. If you put it on my street, I want some personal property tax for you driving on my streets, because I need to fix my streets that you driving on. Y'all, fair exchange ain't no robbery. But when we're in our kingdom, no, we don't do it. There's no need to number it. There's no need. But when you're in a census in somebody else's land, they saying that we want to count. That's not an army of Israel, because we split up. It's 40 million of us here. So what's the most they gonna get? It's 40 million. There's 11 other tribes. So you can't get the numbers. And half of us ain't gonna do the census, half of us got warned. I mean, damn well you ain't gonna tell them I'm living here. You notice the new census coming out, we don't care who's living with you, just put their name on the paper. Oh, okay, so we see where Do Dirty and James them is at. So Do Dirty over on Cobrillion, y'all, he's staying with them, the census telling.
Ain't but two houses on Coast.
Let's get it. Where we at? 2 Samuel 12:1.
I got it.
Go ahead, bro.
2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 1.
What it say?
And the Lord sent Nathan unto David. And he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor.
So right here, he's giving David an example. This is after the incident with Bathsheba. David think he done got away. Or, look, he don't really think he got away, but he's starting to get beside himself that the Lord done spared me a couple times. So, you know, I'm cool. You know, did I do this accordingly? But when David asked, who is that bathing naked over there? When he should have been out to show the king, the other nations, the head of the tribes of Israel, the war king at that point, he was supposed to go out and be in front, you know, of the so-called battle of array. But he stayed back and was on the roof and saw Bathsheba. And he asked, who is that? They say that's Uriah the Hittite, one of your top 13 generals. At that point, he should have let it go. But the next question David asked, is she happy? Like Negroes do you in the grocery store, women. You married? Yes. But are you happy? See, it'll be a different answer. She said, hell no. He didn't run off, don't never come home, ain't work, laying his ass on the couch playing video game. I'm trying to get food for these 3 children. Watch him disappear down the aisle.
He gonna run from that. He gonna run from that.
He ain't gonna be happy either, is
She
she?
need to be saved.
Go ahead, bro. Finish up. What it say?
The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had brought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom.
What it do?
Lay in his bosom. And was unto him as a daughter.
So, see, it's even talking about this man. If you transfer this to a woman, he said it laid into his bosom like his own child. He treated his wife like his daughter. I mean, the love was that strong, or how, man, like his daughter. It was beyond sex at this point. And she's laying in his bosom, which we're going to get the definition of bosom, what's according to this. Because it's saying he took care of the whole house. You see how everything, but before we get to the bosom part, what is being taken care of? What does it say again, Ezra?
It says, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had brought up and nourished.
What he do? Nourished up, brought up and nourished up. That means you're taking responsibility. Yep. Go ahead, bro.
And it grew up together with him and with his children.
And with his children. So even you looking at it like this is a family that's sticking together. A poor man. Go ahead.
It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter.
Right.
And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spurred to take of his own flock and of his own herd, to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him. But he took the poor man's lamb, and dressed it for the man that was come to him.
So right here it's saying a rich man come, and y'all don't, he got plenty of lambs, y'all don't take his, you come and take the poor man that he grew up with it. Same thing Saul did to David, the poor man. So he just told David, you already experienced this with Saul. You was a poor man when he gave you the first daughter. He took her from you and gave her to somebody else, a rich man. He gave the first one. He would give, was it Michal? He promised to David and gave it to somebody else, didn't he? Let's read some more. What else to say?
Verse 5. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die. Oh, and David's a master of what you say out of your mouth. You'll be judged by it. Go ahead, let's read some more. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man.
Oh my God.
Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. So see where we get right back to? He like, look, I just delivered you out of the same thing you just done. That was done to you by your chief enemy of the tribes of Israel. I delivered you from that. Let's read some more. Verse 8. What it say? And I gave thee thy master's house. What did he give him first? Thy master's house. What comes with King Saul's house? And it couldn't have been why King Saul was still sitting on the throne. Let's just finish this verse, then I'll expound. And thy master's wives into thy bosom. And gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would have moreover have given unto thee such and such things. How is it only this part of the verse that says, and thy master's wives into thy bosom, is that the only thing these Negroes see? Yep. They don't see the first part of that verse, and I gave thee thy master's house. What comes with the house? Look, when a king, when a position takes place, usually kings die out and give it over to their sons. But because Saul and all his sons died in the war because of his disobedience, that's off the table to transfer it to your son at this point. Right. All your sons dead. They're gone. So David gets charge of the full house. First, all of the gold, all of the wealth, and then he said, I put thy
master's wives in our bosom. We got two problems here. If this mean what them Negroes saying, that David took Saul's wife and had sex with him, that's a problem off the top, because he was married to the daughters.
So he got right.
So finish that verse and then we'll hit these. Go ahead, hit that verse. See, but they'll look at it like, just like when Jacob only wanted Rachel, these Negroes will say, but he didn't turn down the quabba of them handmaids. So that makes it right.
Oh, man.
That makes it right in your mind, because he didn't turn it down. It wasn't the fact that he didn't turn it down. It was the trick of Laban. Because he said, no, you can't marry her first. You got to marry her, and her handmaid come with her. And then the bidding war start for who gonna have the children. Because it wasn't because they were trying to build a nation with multiple women. The two women that's in the conflict, Leah and Rachel, both of them became barren. Doing the scrap. So they gave unbarren women to them for the scrap. And they had children by them. And then they got back into the scrap, and then the Most High opened up their womb. But this was a constant knockdown brawl. And the only thing you can think is, he didn't turn down the quabba. All this chaos. And you wonder why chaos in your life like that. And that you have to keep trying. You don't have to explain it. Ain't no man around here keep telling every day on there about me and my wife been there. What else is you and your wife doing? All 10 of y'all. Well, what is it doing for the kingdom? What is it doing for anything? What you got going other than plenty uncleanness and hay rolling?
If it's unrighteous, if it's righteous, you wouldn't have to.
You don't have to brag about it. What we look like over here saying, I take care of my kids. And what you want, a trophy?
You want a trophy for something
you made them.
You supposed to do that, but you want a trophy.
You want, here's y'all, here's champion, y'all. Take care of his kids, man. That nigga is.
He overcame all the suppression of the.
Let's get some more, y'all. Let's finish this up. We ain't got long.
Super foolish.
Verse 9.
What it say?
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord?
What did he do?
Despise the commandment of the Lord.
See, this is despising the commandment. This don't mean he only broke it. He looked at it like, well, if love and Bathsheba is wrong, I don't want to be right. See, that's despising the commandment. Even though it's wrong, you're saying, I'm going to make it right. Anytime you see this and you just say, well, shit, nigga had more than one wife, that's all I care about. I don't care nothing about what Nathan said. I don't care nothing about that. What I'm talking about, did he have them wives or not? But we're going to get to the point to see if David ever slept with any of his master's wives.
See, that's part of the problem.
Or is that just what the Most High told you? I'm going to put, look, if Saul dead, he's got widows, right?
Yes, sir.
He's got daughters, or some, because the daughters, we ain't seen when they got killed. Did we?
No.
So the daughters didn't die, the sons died. So now, what are they to do with their father being put to death, hung on a wall, and had to be took down, body burned, and bones buried? What are they going to do now, since the kingdom is gone? It's in David's hands. So is he in charge of them for sex, which you got mother and daughter now? Exactly. So is he in charge for breaking the law? Is this what the Lord putting into his hands when he say, I gave you thy man? But when your eyes is only focused on how many tails or rear ends did Saul have? And they count them up, 1, 2, like that. How many licks in the charms pot? Many. What we had, boy? Go ahead, finish reading some more.
How many licks it take to get to the center?
Verse 9 again.
What it say?
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord, to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house.
No, just to the weekend.
Shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house. And I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor. And he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of his son.
So he says, payback coming. Just like how you did that in front of people, is coming back to you this same way. So is this the mindset? Because you see multiple that you saying, well, David did it, and you're not looking at any of this responsibility he had to pay for that. All you see is just multiple will prove your case. Your case was already proven because polygamy was legal. The problem we're talking about is the other ones, like the poor man, the ewe lamb, taking care of his household and making sure all of them eat and raise them up like his own child. That's the problem that you're missing. Let's read some more. What else to say?
Verse
12.
12. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord.
What David say?
I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die.
See, when David was confronted, it wasn't no problem. Now, we got an issue here too. David should be put to death because of what he did with another man. Ain't that what the script says?
Yep.
So, I mean, it was common knowledge that David took her. It's common knowledge. But he's the king. So, the men's hands are stayed, but David should have been put to death. But he said, the Lord know your heart. He know what you was going to do. But he never, ever let you get off scot-free.
No.
Has it?
Gotta pay for
It's
it.
bitter.
But you see after he said this to Nathan immediately said, all the Most High already forgave you.
Yeah.
It was already forgiven you because he already, like you say, he already knew what you was going to do. He knew how you was going to respond to this.
When you call.
When you caught, he already knew you weren't going to try to backpedal out of it and blame some and find fault in somebody else. But he knew you were going to take the
right. Like, come on, Lord, come on, Lord, bathing naked and know I'm on the rooftop. See, then you hide your transgression in your bosom, like Adam.
You know,
see, Job 33, 31. See, so those are the 31, 33, whichever one it is. That's what we're talking about. Bosom just don't mean intercourse. Nor do just water, baptism mean only water. Because it said we was baptized coming through the Red Sea. Did a sandal get wet?
No.
Okay. Paul said, I only remember baptizing Stephanus in the house of Gad. Other than that, I didn't baptize nobody. The Lord sent me to preach the gospel. And preaching the gospel, the Holy Spirit comes upon you. There's nobody but Messiah that when they went and was baptized that the Holy Spirit came over them, but Messiah. And doves came down to show you that it was a transition. It's changing from just that form. You have to be born again. You have to be baptized with the Spirit. If you're only teaching one side, that is water baptism only, and then when these scriptures come up on you, they hang up on the phone like old boy did with us. Oh, little Deacon Shepherd, gotta go. All the question is asked, all you have to ask too, is bosom only mean laying in the bed with a woman? And watch how they try to fix. But what we need here is that if David had Saul's wives, we need to find that recorded. Or is that the Most High is talking about something different when he say, I put your master's house in your control. And the women's that's left, you got to take care of them too. That comes with the house.
That means all his responsibilities fall on you.
On you.
His burdens fall on you.
But if a Negro dodge in that first hymn that he's worse than an infidel, if they battling that one, see, that didn't mean that was talking about some widows. Like, Negroes want no responsibility for that rolling in the hay. None.
That's all they want to do.
It's kind of like when Absalom, his son, slept with his 10 concubines.
Yes, sir.
And he,
we got that down.
Yeah.
We got that, bro. We come to that. You were on that. You were on that. Let's get this. Let's finish up, y'all, because we ain't got about 32 minutes and 76 seconds.
That's that spirit. Stop it.
So, okay, bro. Shalom, bro. Be careful out there.
Shabbat shalom. Last.
You need to come finish that song.
Hey, I got you.
And I was supposed to say this, and I forgot y'all, but they having a food giveaway for all the St. Louis. If y'all watching, they're giving food away. So if you know somebody a little short, they're giving away right across the street here on Euclid and Martin Luther King in that little strip mall and a little park right behind the Sears building where we at. They're giving out food. They got 3,000 families. They're going to give food out. I was supposed to say it at the beginning of the class, y'all. So And I'm sure it may be still a little something left. So if y'all know somebody here in STL and they need a little food, y'all send them on down the way. They got bags for them.
Well, when I looked earlier at 9, when I came through here at 12, the line was all the way up to Page and Taylor. So just know that too.
Well, Octai Drell called me and told me the line had dwindled down to about 10 calls.
At 12 o'clock, it was the Page and Taylor.
Okay. So let's get it, y'all. Boy, way back to the old site.
It was way back to the old site.
Let's get it, y'all. Where we at?
Verse 14.
What it say?
Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the children also, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die.
See, what you did, you giving enemies ammunition. Y'all, and this is what we're talking. Tyler Perry, what he's going through, that was ammunition to the enemies about us. This what them niggas do to say they your chosen people. This what they got going in them concentration camps, because that's all it is, a concentration camp. Women have to sleep, but how is your wife sleeping over in another building and you sleeping over here?
You's a weak nigga.
And then he tell you, it's your lucky night tonight. You're gonna finally be with your wife. I've approved it.
Man, ain't no way in the world. Boy, ain't no way in the world.
Zaya? No, I ain't gonna say that, girl. I want to get you out of that mindset right now. Right.
Zeb already said he cashed in his kingdom ticket.
Let's get it, y'all.
Verse 15.
What it say?
And Nathan departed unto his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought Yahweh for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth.
Now David doing this about a child that was caught in adultery. Negroes like this say, you got to explain that to your husband. That ain't my business. But we see what David doing. Fasted and prayed that child may live. Now this is a whole nother responsibility he gonna have to be dealing with. You know why? Because everybody gonna be pointing fingers at that child.
Yep.
Calling the name just like they did Jephthah back in Judges 11, whose mother was a harlot. Ain't your mama Bathsheba married to that Hittite, wasn't she? That one, the one David had killed. Ain't that's your daddy, the one had supposed to be your real daddy, got killed. Ain't that your daddy? It'd have been brutal in Israel. Y'all know us.
Yeah, your mama's a stripper.
Ain't nothing different. Hell, when you get into what Saul was talking about Jonathan, because they loved, it says because your mama is a perverse woman.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Now he calling her a wicked woman.
Saul was talking bad.
Reckless. Let's get some more.
You just like your mom.
Just like your mom. Ooh. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 16. David 17.
Yeah.
And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died. And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, is the child dead?
Look at this behavior. Now you done produced a child that had to be put to death by the Lord because you the king, and we can't have this practice running through Israel. The king do whatever the hell he want to do.
It's good to be the king.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So this is a problem right here. David didn't want that. David was praying for that child so he could take care of him. But the Lord said, no, this gone too far, David.
It has to be put down.
It has to be put down. So this was the first son of Bathsheba. Solomon was the second son.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to truly understand. Solomon wasn't the first son of Bathsheba. Go ahead, let's read some more.
Verse 20.
What it say?
Then David arose from the earth, washed and anointed himself, and changed his apparel, and came into the house of the Lord, and worshipped. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat.
So we can hold there. sir. Y'all know the rest of that story, but I just want to get into that, and we want to get into land in the bosom, so we gonna see how bosom is defined. What bosom says there? You got that word pulled up for me? And I need these quick hitters, y'all. Genesis 16:5. And we already went through 2 Samuel 12. That's where we at right now, verse 3 and verse 8, about being in the bosom. And it talks about the poor man, and he raised himself. So was that talking about when she landed in his bosom, or was it giving a ewe lamb as a protection? See, it gave you a ewe lamb so that you wouldn't think a woman. It's telling you he protected an animal like that grew up with him, so you won't get your mind on sex. He wants you to think he went all out for a lamb and treated it like his own family members. This is what he wants. But like I say, once you start to get these scriptures, more and more open up to you. You know, years ago, all we used to just say, well, yeah, it's right there. It proves that David had more wives than the Lord was saying right there. You know, I give you more. But notice what he said when I gave you the house, I gave you master's wife, I gave you all Israel. See, we have to look at that too. Now that's charge over all Israel. That means he could have had any woman he wanted. David hadn't took any women yet. When we get to the end of this, we finna hit Saul's wives so we can see if they're on the list of David's wives. Or was this just what came with the territory, the protection for it? Yeah. Once you kind of re-examine it, because, you know, I looked at it one way. I said, well, yeah, he's telling him he could have more than one wife right there, but the law was not to multiply.
As a king.
As a king, you know. So these are things we have to truly look at. But when you only look at it one way, this is all I'm saying. I'm not saying it wasn't never looked at one way before. But when you start to take things into totality and you stop looking at it from just everything is surrounded by sex, it's going to leave you. You'll get more understanding. That's why I started off in that Sirach 47 showing David. And then it shows Solomon with all his wisdom. But what got it?
Women.
His loins got it.
Lust.
So this is all we're trying to get some understanding of what he was in charge of. And we're going to end it with 1 Kings. And you see David transferring everything over to Solomon the same way. Everything. So David's dead. So do Solomon sleep with Bathsheba? Is she in his bosom? Huh? So what's the difference between a mother-in-law and a mother? If he took Saul's whole house and David transferring his, you saying he slept with the mother-in-laws if you saying he gave him his master's wives, ain't you? Because that was his, he married to the daughter, then that's the mother-in-law, ain't it?
That's what you're saying.
So we're going to hit the laws on that so we get some understanding. Anybody saying anything out there too bad?
I lost connection, but I'm trying to get it back.
We ain't off the air.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy, we just talking. You should have said something.
I thought y'all, yes, sir.
Oh, man.
Man, you got to say something, bro.
I'm still recording though.
Well, you still recording, that's what I'm asking.
I'm still uploading.
Oh, man, we still.
How we looking? We live? We still live? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I heard you saying that.
Okay, well, we good. Let's keep rolling.
You just say that.
Hit the wires on my computer then, because I can't see.
Yeah, because we still on land,
my
man.
screen was just rolling.
Okay, y'all, let's get back where we at.
You want that definition?
Yeah, I want the definition of bosom.
Bosom, H2436. Cake, bosom, hollow, bottom, midst. Strong definition from an unroot root, apparently meaning to enclose. The bosom, literally or figuratively. Bosom, bottom, lap, midst, or within.
So when you look at bosom from that point, and that's just an H definition of it, but also if you look it up, it'll tell you in the bosom of, is it protection? Is that the only one that's listed? Because that's saying in, out, regardless, it ain't saying nothing about sex, did it? None of what you just read, did it? So if you got another definition, which I'm sure it is, it'll want to show in the protection of, in the space of, taken care of, in the care of, in the arms of. You know, when people say I'm gonna put you in the arms of somebody, they ain't talking about them putting you in the hands of a pedophile, do they? Huh?
I hope not. I said in the midst.
In the midst, so
within.
So when you look up bosom, though, there's many other definitions. If anybody just look it up from Webster, but we gonna get the definitions of where it is. What it say?
It's H6747. That's a dish or a bowl. So that could be a bosom too, within.
So what are you looking at? Give me another one, y'all. Give me some definition of bosom. some webs or something going on with that. That ain't just laying it. Because we know the bosom is talking about the chest region. You know, because Moses stuck his hand where?
In his bosom.
In his bosom and pulled it back out. So we know what it's talking about from that perspective.
But see, in the bosom lies the heart.
The bosom lies what?
The heart.
Okay. Go ahead, what you got there?
G2859. Post, the front of the body between the arms, the bosom of the garment, i.e. the hollow formed by the upper forepart of a rather loose garment,
Chest plate.
bound by girdle or sash, used to keep and carry things. The fold or pocket, a bay of the sea. Apparently a primary word, the bosom, by analog, a bay, bosom, creek.
So what we're talking about is protection, because it says between the arms.
Like a mother holds up a child
Baby
in her bosom.
in her bosom, you know. Put your hand in your bosom, so we know it's concentrated on this area. So we'll see the different areas where bosom. We know first, it happened Genesis, first time we really seen Genesis 16:5. Give me that, y'all. One hitter, y'all. We're gonna close out.
Genesis 16:5.
What it say?
And Sarah said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes.
So we look at this, and like Uriah asked this question, Uriah asked, he say, hey, is she saying, Abraham, you wrong for me? Yes, she's speaking in twofold, because when she get on, but she say, it's really on me because the angel told me I was gonna have a baby. I didn't trust the angel.
That's right.
So this bosom can't be used as a positive side in this position, because it's trouble, right? So there's no protection. And basically she's saying, I put her in your bosom, in your charge, in your care, and you let her talk to me any kind of way. I'm the bottom woman.
Right.
I'm chief wife. How you gonna let her talk to me like that and sashay around her? And he thinking, you the one told her to come again. And he said, I gotta go talk to the Lord about this. He said, listen to her. She said, you got to get rid of that heifer right now, because her son is messing with your only son, your promised son Isaac. He giving him noogies, and I saw him pointing an arrow at him the other day. You got to get rid of him. And what the Most High tell her? Listen to who? He said, listen to your wife. That's a problem, ain't it? So we see the bosom in here wasn't just about I gave you and you had sex with it so you can say Abraham was a polygamist. This is problems, y'all.
Well, you talk about elementary.
She's sashaying around with the big belly, and you supposed to have her in check. She ain't supposed to disrespect me in front of everybody like that. I'm the bottom, or the top, I should say, woman. I called the shots. I gave her to you. That's my handmaid. How you lose control like that, Abraham? Abraham, like, I didn't lose control. You lost control when the angel told you it was going to be you. You didn't believe in reverse menopause, not me. What my problem? And then we see, though, that when he drove her off, the Most High still blessed Abraham's seed, and he became 12 princesses. And then when we get into Jasher 21, you will see Abraham going to see Ishmael several times. He said, I need to go see my son. So through all of that, he never did get rid of his children, did he? He went to see about his children. And Ishmael was a grown man at this time.
And still gave him advice.
And still, not only that, but still gave him inheritance at the end. Ishmael is on the list of inheritance, because he's still Abraham's son. And this is what we're talking about. Men that leave inheritance, like David gave all the Saul stuff back to Jonathan's, or to his grandson, or Jonathan's son, gave it all back. There has to be some inheritance. You just can't have all these women and make all these babies and don't take care of them. They're state children.
No inheritance.
The children of the state.
If you leave here today, what's going to happen to all them children?
Nothing.
They're like niggas screaming his polygamy, but he getting disability.
Yeah, boy.
The government,
Boy,
you ain't the head of your
boy,
household, nigga.
boy.
And you talking about you got multiple wives, but you on disability. Nigga, roll you out your
polygamy
rapping
don't
mouth.
mean you running through them.
Boy, come on, boy.
It don't mean you running through them. We was running through them before we got in this truth.
Yeah, boy, come on, boy.
If you still running through them, your ass.
Go. Almost made you curse, you know what I'm saying? Let's get this. What else we got? So we see the definition of that bosom was not a good bosom. She put, that was protection. Nothing mentioned about sex. And it says she's, the bosom that it is that what she's complaining about is disrespect. Got nothing to do with that. Yes, intercourse happened. But she was made a wife before all the public world. Abraham didn't do it in secret. Everybody knew. That's why Hagar was sashaying around. She wasn't shamed because the script say it's called Abraham's wife. But she's a concubine. Being she's a secondary, concubine is for a secondary wife or a second wife. So when you read about Abraham and it said he had concubine, Abraham had 2 other wives that were considered concubine because they were second and third. If anybody out there can find the names of Abraham additional concubines that they floating this around because they see that word and don't break concubine down on its foresight that it means secondary wife and just not a slave girl. You think it's Most High raise up women just to be run through? This the mindset of these Negroes when they see slave girl, just a run through girl. That ain't what the scripture's talking about. These men took care of their women. Let's read some more. Where we at? Let's get this next bosom. We did 2 Samuel 3 and 8, so we know about the rich man and poor man. Give me Luke 16, 22 and 23. Isaiah 40 and 11. Then I'm gonna get to the father and the son in their bosom, and there's gonna be a situation with John in Messiah's bosom. So what you gonna call him, a homosexual? See, if your mind on sex, it'll go there, and your mind will start playing with you. This look funny right here.
He on the titty.
But he said, and then look, and then in the next breath, you will quote to somebody. Didn't he say, "I didn't come to destroy the law of the prophets"? Then how in a minute that your mind trick you and you think that something Messiah's doing something wrong here, or like he's that Negro in number 7 of this Ruthless video, where he got men laying in his bosom. No. Messiah didn't cleanse no men like that. He washed their feet. He didn't pull their pants down and cleanse them like that. This is something they brought in here because wickedness goes to another level when you despise the truth. No, wasn't no seeding going on to seed nobody else. Wasn't none of that happening.
I can see somebody.
Boy, come on, bro.
Come on now.
What we got? Luke 16, 22 and 23. These one hitters, then we're going to finish up with the killer there. Go ahead.
Luke 16, 22. And it came to pass that the beggar died, and was carried by angels into Abraham's bosom.
What was he carried to?
Abraham's bosom.
So is they just put him in Abraham's chest?
He on the titty.
Or did he put him under his control, or a place of refuge?
Place of refuge until that day.
Until that day. Because when you read about Abraham's bosom, it's called the 3rd level of heaven, paradise.
Yes, sir.
Testament of Levi, chapter 2. 2 Corinthians 13, 1. Went to the 3rd heaven. So you see what the bosom of Abraham is. It's a safety holding spot for protection. In that bosom.
It's the layover.
It's the layover. What else you got, Elijah?
And then verse 23. No, I'm going to finish 22. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom.
In Lazarus where?
In his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water, and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame.
See, so right here we can hold that. You see him tormented on the other side of that bosom. So a bosom buddy may not be friendly all the time. See, he's on the other side. He want to get to the good part of that bosom. Because this one ain't producing no milk.
But you also see that he's began his torment at burial.
Boy. Yes, sir. He ain't even made it to the lake of fire
went
yet.
to the paradise, and the other one went and was buried, and his torment began.
And he ain't even went to the lake of fire
He ain't
yet.
been in the lake of fire
That's
yet.
what Ecclesiastes 12, 13, and 14 say. Some resurrected to everlasting life, some resurrected going straight to the lake of fire. Can you imagine that? Wake up from torments, the rich man here, and then head straight. You thought this fire was hot. Oh, boy, you know what I'm talking about. And all the butter done burn up out of it.
The butter brown.
So rain's gonna be on fire and sin's just like if you throw the piece of meat in there with no oil or nothing in it.
Ooh, yeah, that's stuck.
Isaiah 40 and 11.
Isaiah chapter 40, verse 11.
What it say?
He shall feed his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs and with his own, and carry them in his bosom, and shall gently lead those that are with the young.
See, and this is talking about the Messiah. This is what he gonna do. See, carry him in his arm. That's another thing between the chest. I'm carrying you. This is the bosom. I'm gonna take you here. This is what you're gonna be. You're gonna be in the bosom of the Father. Why does this always relate to below the waistline activity? When Negroes see this, they're hunting for a word to justify the wickedness instead of like David saying, "I done greatly sinned."
Man, that's got to be a great thought pattern of lust, man. That
Boy.
you were seeing from the bosom down to the below the loins.
Boy, come on, boy.
That you interpret the bosom to be the loins. Boy, your lust level has reached a whole new level.
I'm talking about
That you go from up here above at the upper torso to the lower torso.
Being protected.
Look, even if you have one of these contracts, We's Together contract,
We used to go.
these Negroes ain't never got a public ceremony with even these.
Nope.
They won't even keep the rules with their own ones. They making up all this is We's Together because we just come out of the bread room. Ain't no witnesses around. You only find out they've been with this person because the woman is pregnant now. And he's found out it's his because she did account for him. No, I left Earl 2 months before I got with you. It's yours. So now they're forced to acknowledge that's my baby.
But she won't be around
No,
long.
not long soon as the baby's born. And I get a look at him. Yeah, that's my nostrils and then my bushy eyebrows. Damn. What do I have next? Oh, I almost forgot about being a dragon woman. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's next. Drive him out of here. And the child, never to be seen again.
Yep.
Let's get some more of this, y'all. We ain't got long. Give me now let's get into the Father and Messiah. John 13, 23 and 24. Then we're gonna get Saul's wives and the wives of David. And we're gonna get that 1 Kings, y'all. We're gonna close on out of here. And boy, our time is looking good because we got about 16 minutes and 97 seconds.
I know you get 97 seconds.
That would make it 17 minutes.
Well, y'all do the math.
Oh, we got to do the
Yes, sir.
I didn't know this was a math.
Hey, say add whatever them leftover numbers to that 60.
Yeah, yes, sir. Where we at?
What you say you wanted John 13 and what?
I want John 13, 23, 24. Yes, sir.
All right, John chapter 13, verse 23. I'm going to start at 22.
Okay, yes, sir.
Then the disciples looked one on another, doubting of whom he spake. Now there was leaning on Yahweh's bosom one of his disciples, whom Yahweh loved. Simon Peter therefore beckoned to him that he should ask who it should be of whom he spake.
Now, see, you'll get naysayers do this, and the LGBT2 all like to use this and say right there, he's got a boy in his chest.
No, you hit 25 before you.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, bro.
He then lying on Yahweh's breast, saith unto him, Lord, who is it?
Okay, there.
So basically, they asked John because he was closest to Messiah. This the same John that when his mother was looking, Mary was looking up at the Messiah on the cross. He said, Mother, don't weep like that. You got a son left. He said, behold thy son, John. And said to the disciple whom he loved, take care of my mama. Mama, that's your son for a minute. I'll see y'all again, but that's your son. Y'all, you talking about transferring power. You talking about somebody he could truly trust. It's just saying that John was as close to him as all the disciples because the other disciple was beckoning him. Man, ask him, man, what's the deal? Ask him, you ask it. You the closest with him. You in his breast. You close with him. You in his bosom. You in his protection. It's something y'all got going special. You know it had to be something if he left him in charge of his mama.
How many of y'all believe y'all?
Your boy, come on. You know it's partners. If you on this righteous walk and you know you on your deathbed, you like, man, look out for my mama, man. She gonna have a rough time with me leaving before her. It ain't the natural order. Brother, will you look out for my mom? Daniel, I got you, man. I got you, man. If that was the case, God forbid, you know what I'm saying? But that was the deal. Go ahead.
My mother in charge to someone else. We believe in threats with you.
Boy.
You better do
Right. You better do right. Right. You have to look. You call him. Look. Right. Look. You will push the button for the doctor. The doctor come in. Man, can I help you? Can I make it? Yeah. Look in the closet. My pistol in there. I want to threaten this nigga right here. You know, you're on your deathbed. You better treat her right. No, if you have to do that, that's not a friend.
No.
And this is what was so important about being a godparent. Y'all, you just can't take on godparent because it's a title. What that means is whatever you have planned for that child, I will make sure if anything happened to you, it's going to be fulfilled. Yeah. That's the role of a godparent. It's not just because you made me godparent and we fighting over it about the best gift. This ain't got nothing to do. Your gifts is coming down the line if something happened to them. If I plan on sending them to this college, then that's where they need to be going. Or you got to say no. I don't want that responsibility and give it to somebody who can take that on instead of you knowing you ain't positioned. Hell, you ain't seen your children. You told them you was going to get a loaf of bread and they ain't seen you in 2 years.
They say you a godfather.
Boy, come on. Finish that up. Where you at, bro? Is that just that one hitter?
Yeah, that was that one.
Okay, now where we at? Hit me John 1, 17 and 18. And y'all, what we're talking about is the Messiah. Well, this was John in the bosom of, in the protection of Messiah. He was so close to him that the other disciples said, but you can get people just like they think that David gave his master wives in your bosom. Now looking at it, you see it was protection, because we're going to get to who Saul's wives was. And then now John in the bosom of the Father. If they thinking it's sex for that, then the LGBT going to think this is sex for them. See, they'll use it wickedly as well. There's no understanding because it's buddying. What they've trapped you to and entice you with is your own lust. They come in with we can get multiple women swaying hips and with no responsibility. What? No responsibility? You lying.
The only responsibility is on the women.
You lying. He said, I ain't lying. I done spread this poison to many camps. I done been all over the country. I spread this poison and I'm telling you it worked. Now it may end up rough, but they don't even tell them that.
No, they ain't gonna tell them nothing.
Never tell them the back end of what's gonna happen. Because it keeps them on the smiling end of it.
Because the only people that got the responsibility is the women.
Yes, sir.
To maintain you.
Where we at? Give me John 1, 17 and 18.
I'm going to do 15.
Okay.
15 through 18.
Yes, sir.
John chapter 1, verse 15. John bare witness of him and cried, saying, this was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me.
There it is.
For he was before me. And of his fullness have all we received. And grace for grace. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Yahweh.
What came by Messiah?
Grace and truth.
See, y'all, it's not saying that there's a change in the law. It's showing you a change in priesthood. For the law about Moses, all y'all be dead right now. A lot of us wouldn't even be sitting in this room right now if we were still rocking under that, because they didn't care about your conscience. You saying you sorry. You caught up off with your head. You threw. Right then and there. You see how David responded right then and there, didn't you?
So he should die.
But then it had to kick in Melchizedek, what was coming, who he was in the very image of.
Right.
To the people of Israel, chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, like Messiah chose. Almost a mirror image, y'all. Fighting with his own family members, the same way Messiah was fighting with his family members. Let's get some more.
Verse 18.
What it say?
No man has seen Yahweh at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him.
See, so he's in the bosom of the Father. What does this mean? Care of his Father, y'all. See, when you understand this care versus sex, see, so responsibility comes, and then that comes because you have to be responsible with sexual intercourse. Leviticus 15 tells you about any fluid leaving a man or a woman. This is the prerequisite. This is the law for fluid leaving the body of a man or a woman. These are the rules. You must wash yourself.
Wash your booty.
You have to wash yourself. You got 3 or 4 stacked up in one house. You cannot hit all of them or 2 different ones in the same day. You cannot cross-contaminate and say you're unclean until evening. You have to wait. You can't be valiant like that and saying I'm going room to room with one bathroom.
That's nasty.
I'll be there shortly. I'll be finished in about 2 minutes. I'll be there.
Oh, the stench.
You full of pride.
See, as long as they can get rid of the law about a subject and word etymology it out on you, you're going to be lost. See, we're using the law to deal with what we're talking about bosom because it's either that or this Bible is contradicting itself. Just like John was in the bosom of Messiah, Messiah just said I was in the bosom of my Father like this. So what do y'all think going on? Now you can have a twisted mind if you want to, but Paul said in Romans 1:20 that it can't be that. Leviticus say it can't be that. If a man lies with a man like he do womankind, if Messiah didn't come break the law, how is your mind right there then? Unless you're trying to shame the Messiah on the sly and you really ain't a worshiper of this Godhead we talking about.
That's the bottom line, Dan.
You're a worshiper of a bunch of Negroes dressed up like clowns. Where we at, y'all? Let's finish this up. We ain't got no, but I'm into my minute time. We finished that John 1:17-18?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get right to Saul's wives. I'm gonna just hit them real quick because so far Saul only had 2 wives. Give me 1 Samuel 14:50. And then give me 2 Samuel 3:1-7. Now, it's coincidental that David, one of his wives, had the same name as Saul's wife. So a lot of people say, well, this is right here, Anointed, if I'm pronouncing it right. Well, no, it tells you they were from 2 different areas. Because if Saul's still alive and David on the run, what is he doing with Saul's wife? Ain't that adultery?
Adultery.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
He wasn't giving the master's wife while Saul was still sitting on the throne like this, was he? What do you think his queen was? You think she gonna run off with David? David the age younger than Jonathan. What is David doing with an older woman of the king? See, this is where the mind have to go to clear this madness up.
And then where is that written?
So she's with a young man then. But these Negroes don't care. Shit, they go after a social security check like they would food stamps. Have her in a tracksuit in the club at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nah. Come on, that's my gal. Where we at, bro? It's 1 Samuel 14:50. What it say?
1 Samuel 14:50.
Yeah.
Wow.
Boy, look, trying to stay awake.
Okay. All right. Verse 50.
What it
1
say?
Samuel chapter 14, verse 50. And the name of Saul's wife was Ahinoam.
What was it?
Ahinoam,
Right?
the daughter of Ahimaaz.
The daughter of who?
Ahimaaz.
Okay, so we see who Saul's wife was, the daughter of Ahimaaz.
Ahimaaz.
Y'all see it right there. Okay, now let's just get to his other wife, 2 Samuel 3:1-7. And also give me 2 Samuel 21:8. Because it's going to back it up who the 2 women were. And what we need to do is see if David, when he gave his master's wife, did David have any one of these? Because it's one with the same name that was on the run with him and Abigail.
Yeah.
Now Saul is still alive.
Right.
What the law say?
Verse chapter 3, verse 1.
What it say?
Now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David.
A long war.
A long war.
Y'all see this, y'all? These family members, y'all. War in your own house. Let's read some more like this.
But David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. And unto David were sons born in Hebron, and his firstborn was Amnon of Hinanam, of Ahinoam, the Jezreelite.
See, now that's the difference. That's David's wife with the same name as Saul that we just read. Ain't that the same name?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference in where they from?
She was a Jezreelite.
And what the other one was from? Him and Dad?
Him.
Names were common, y'all. How many Isaiahs you know? How many Zekes you know? Yo, we have to identify them by something else that they do because there's so many.
They can't cut.
Man, go down there and let them fix your tire, man. You know Black Robert. Black Robert. What Black Robert? Black Robert at the tire shop. Oh, that Black Robert. See, because there's many of them.
I thought you meant the Black Robert.
Right. No, not him. He said White Castle. He don't fix flats. Like Robert do. Like have to name Alexander the coppersmith. Because there's many Alexanders.
Right.
So when you know it's the coppersmith, you know which one we're talking about. Like it say Judas, not Iscariot.
Right. Or it says Simon the Canaanite.
Canaanite. Yes, sir. Let's get it. Where we at? Did we finish that? Did y'all give me
verse 3.
And
his second, Kiliab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite.
So we see right here his name in Ahorna and Abigail, right? So far, let's read what else David wife. Go ahead.
Absalom, the son of Makar, the daughter of Talmai, king of Gershon, and the fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith, and the fifth, Shephatiah.
Now, let me ask you. Now, the key is, did we see Rizpah? I'm talking about Saul's other wife.
No,
is she in the list of David's wives?
No.
Rizpah ain't there. So when you give your master's wife, what happened to Rizpah? Why ain't she a concubine of David or something, you know?
So 7.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna read on down.
And
the sixth, Ithraim by Eglah, David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron. And it came to pass while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David that Abner made himself strong for the house of Saul. And Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah. And Ishbosheth said to Abner, wherefore hast thou gone in unto my father's concubine?
So there's another man went into his concubine. One talking to David. Who went in? What the man name they said? What's his name? Abner.
Abner went in the Rizpah.
Is David named Abner?
No.
Is there another name for David as Abner?
No.
So right here, when you understand I gave you your master's wives, I just gave you protection over them. I gave you the whole house of Saul. That comes with the territory. When you take over something, everything come with. When companies merge, you part of their house now, ain't you? AT&T merged with this nation, and we're going to call it this name. That's your new title. That's your new protector now. That's who's going to be on pay to the order of. That comes with territory for king. You can't water this down to mealy-mouthed men who just sitting around scratching. You cannot, this is about kings, and you can put a crown on your head, but this is still not applying to you.
Never had none before.
Go ahead, bro.
So, I understand David.
Oh, they even worse.
2 reasons why David ain't touched that man. Why? Because one, you know, he had respect for God's woman. He feared God. So he wasn't going to touch him anyway. But number 2, you know, they were in the same house and they was, you know, close. So he said, I ain't going to touch that man, you know, woman. You know,
David was about the law from his youth up.
My question is this. Who they gonna deal with if David ain't dealing with
That's what we're talking about. See, that's what we're talking about when 1 Tim 5 talk about, or is it 4, what talk about you're infidel, you don't take care of your whole household. So what we're talking about, it starts off talking about widows and different things. If your father dies and your mother left alone like Messiah did with his mother, he put her still in protection at his dying death. This is what we're talking about. He's talking about the whole house. You're still part, your mother, your father, that's still, if they're alive, that's under your care because there's rules when they get old how you have to take care of them. So this never goes away. The same thing with your children, just like all of the power will put back to that one son of John. He said, I'm giving you all your father's stuff back. That's your father stuff. That comes from your family. I'm not gonna reign supreme off your daddy. That's for you. Me and your daddy made a covenant about this deal long ago, when your granddaddy was trying to kill me. And I want y'all to think about the heart of a man like that, where David could have kept all that stuff and could have slain that boy. But David stick to his word. He's not a covenant breaker. How you gonna join up and link and talk about these scripts and everybody you hanging around is covenant breakers? You Negroes can't trust each other. Lying and stealing, telling on each other, and then you're talking about covenants? We gonna make a new one? You sound like the 10 tribes that went north and talking about we gonna keep the laws in another land like we couldn't keep in Jerusalem. Are you serious? You can't keep them at home. Where you think you're gonna keep them somewhere else at? That's why folks ask you, you ain't got no what? Home what?
Home to eat.
Training.
Home training or home to eat in. They ain't got
Home
nothing.
training. How you gonna go somewhere? That's the first thing they're like, boy, who raised you? What you got out there, Two-By?
You've already answered this, but apparently the person might have missed the answer. But the question is, was David punished for Deuteronomy 17 and 17?
What's that?
17, which says, neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold.
See, so what we're talking about is if it turns your heart away. Right. See, it's not so much that they can't do it because polygamy is legal. And kings are put in this position that if they take over because of something, they're in charge of this. They're in charge. And look, when we talk about when he put him in the bosom, it also says, I'll put you in charge of all of Saul's house, his wife, and all of Israel and Judah. How you gonna leave that out? Do you know how many virgins and things are left in Israel and Judah, widows, and David's responsible for all of that.
But see, these same Negroes say they're not a bishop, they're not a deacon, and they're not a king. So those laws don't apply to them because they can have as many as they want. So up until you confront them with law, they're not part of these things. They're not a teacher. They're not none of these things that require a man to have one. When that comes up, is I'm not that. But if you don't bring that into the equation, then they're all of that.
But what's the law of this land? One wife.
Well, they don't acknowledge the law of the land because they say this is the heathen and he has no bearing on the laws of the
what we're talking about still though is bosom. Look, if you can only have one marriage certificate, you can have as many insurance policies as you want. You can have as many power attorneys as you want. The problem is these Negroes don't even want to spend $12 to get that notarized, nor pay a $35 a month insurance fee on this woman. What happens if this woman died? What you gonna do, bring in another one so you can have burial costs now? We're bringing 2 more women that'll pay for the funeral. Well, what happens when they die? You keep hustling and hustling backwards. You can get a power of attorney. A woman can tell you, he's in charge of me. He's my protector. Yeah, right there. I'm signing over all of my rights to him. They don't go to my next of kin. It's this individual right here with 2 witnesses sitting right there. And they will not even do that for $12. Because you know what their process is? Cash them out. You see, Rachel paid Leah to sleep with Jacob. They cash them out. Notice how they run to all of the most vile scriptures that where they think can support they hobo asses.
That's right. Right, there you go.
That's all the only reason you're looking for. Everything is pinpoint the trouble that you're about to face. And then you look at their lives and it's a mirror image. Not saying that one-on-one marriage there ain't no divorce. The problem is it tells you if you have 1 or 10, this is the rules for 1 or 10. The problem is they ain't even doing it for 1.
Right.
They done had 20 though.
Boy, let's keep moving, y'all, because I want to finish this up. Where we at? So give me 1 Samuel 25, 43 and 44. Y'all, then we just gonna finish up with that 1 Kings 2, just 11 verses. We're gonna close them out.
So 1 Samuel 25.
1 Samuel 25, verse 43 and 44.
David also took Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they were also both of them his wives. But Saul had given Michal, his daughter, David's wife, to Phalti, the son of Laish,
Right?
which was of Galam.
So right here, y'all, what we see is David is mentioning he got 3 wives here. Look, one, we know all of them are pretty about happenstance. Nabal dead. This is what a man we talking about. Your husband was killed by the Lord for what he did because it was fair exchange. I'm watching Nabal's sheep. He act like he don't know me and all I want is some food so me and my men could keep moving. His wife come out and say, my husband, his very name is food.
And see, and they use that scripture, Daniel, to try and say that David couldn't even feed himself. But right,
David couldn't feed himself.
He was working. He worked for the food that David was supposed to do.
Oh man, it's just getting worse and worse.
But look at this.
They say he was on the run. He was going from city to city, just taking wives. Was a poor man. You know,
But he's not poor at this point.
So
He's
he
sitting on
kidnapping
billions.
they don't say he kidnapping women, but
Shit, that's what they doing. If that's what
But notice the difference of which one you grab versus the one where he tell the king personally, I'm a poor man. He ain't on the run.
Oh wow.
It's public knowledge here.
Yes, sir.
But you know the difference between that one and this one? That one, he's on the run from somebody and he's doing the honorable thing. This one, he's right there where it could be a public ceremony. They rather choose the one where can't nobody see on the run, hiding in the cave. Don't you see how it keep lining up where the thought process go to the sneak part of it? We'll hide, but David ain't sneaking because when you read about what he went to Abigail, he sent 2 men back and said, David ain't gonna leave you like this. He gonna bring you into his bosom or into his household to cover you up because technically the Lord took your husband out for me. Because David was like he was fair. I'm watching your sheep for free. You can't give me a little something so we can move to the next spot. David is still moving back to circle around. Saul is finna be put to death. David gonna sit on the throne. Instantly, overnight, $1 billion gonna change hands. Not only that, when you talking about ain't no money, Nabal was rich. What you think Abigail left with no money?
My God, boy.
And then,
Now there is the Lord.
No reading.
Meaning the Lord likened David's heart to his own.
To his own. See, that's what we're talking about. It's right. So
this is going down, and this is where the thought process goes.
Absolutely,
That's where
bro.
it is because
They leave it
reduce
open
Christ-
to that
They reduce Christ to a mere man, so
and say how
why
he
not?
was born.
Why wouldn't they go that far?
So we see the 2 names of the one, and we see, and it say Michal was given to another man. So technically, David got 2 right here, but I don't want to lose it. Let's get with David concubines because he did have more women, but that came with the territory because Israel, he takes the whole house. But when Absalom went into him, he didn't touch him no more, and he's still protected for life. So let's get that. Is that 2 Samuel 20:30? Let me see. I want to get to where David. No, that got to be, what is it, 2 Samuel 21:8? Let me see, I got it somewhere. I'm going to Google it real quick. I need where David put his 10 concubines up. Hold on. Give me that real quick.
Absalom, that's
It's right there. That's the one I want. I'll Google it real quick.
I think it's 14.
Is it 14? David take care of something? Okay. David.
I'm in 18 right now.
I think I got it right here. I maybe just bagged it up too far. What was that?
Hey, man.
I'm glad you got that. I'm glad it came out of that end.
Sound like a mom.
2 Samuel 20:3. I don't know why I had 30, but I was right there, 20:3. 2 Samuel 20:3. Okay, now start at verse 1. Oh, hold on. And David came to the house and the king took. Okay, yeah. Start at 23. That's what I want y'all. Or you want to start at?
Started on
Okay.
2 Samuel chapter 20, verse 1.
Yeah.
And there happened to be there a man of Belial, whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichra,
Yeah.
a Benjamite. And he blew a trumpet.
Right, bitchery. Yeah. That's old bitchery. Go ahead.
Son of a bitch,
And he blew a trumpet and said, we have no part in David, neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tents, O Israel.
Now y'all got to know this still been going on since Judges 19. What Benjamin did, what they did, and they were dealing with. They were called the sons of Belial back then when they raped that woman and cut her into pieces. They were called the sons. Can you imagine? Belial is a name for the devil. Go ahead.
So every man of Israel went up after David and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah cleave unto their king, from Jordan even to Jerusalem. And David came to his house at Jerusalem. And the king took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and put them inward, and fed them, but went not in unto them.
But he did what?
Went not in unto them. So they were shut up unto the day of their death, living in widowhood.
So you see how now that first 10, when it says your whole household, and that starts off talking about widows, this David taking care of widows. His son Absalom had all 10 of these women. But it was told for what he did for Bathsheba, this gonna happen out of your whole household in front of all Israel. Did David throw them away and say, get out of here, wicked women? Or did he put them up in the house and say, I'm gonna take care of y'all for the rest of y'all life, and but I can't have y'all, I can't go behind my son.
Because the land is defiled.
The land is defiled at this point. So we see David keep law, and he ain't throwing nobody out. He like, this my fault that y'all put in this position. What I look like throwing y'all away?
Ain't that the same thing Jacob did?
Absolutely, bro. Look, so this is what we're talking about. Men who take care of responsibility, even when it's out of your hands or control. I did this, and my son did that to me, but it's because of what I did, and you own up to that.
Stop.
He didn't just throw them away, them 10 that he did. But see, they'll look at this as, there are the 10 concubines, is right there. But they're not looking at the side, what happened to these women. It's only the thing that's saying he didn't touch them no more after that. So only thing is saying, but he had children, and it shows some of the children. But David put them away because his son went in unto them. Y'all just want to hit these last one, y'all. We're going to get ready to close out because 5:10. Give me
you said 2 Kings?
I want 1 Kings 1 through 4, and we're gonna see once again in the bosom, and this on David's deathbed, and then we're gonna jump right into 1 Kings 2, and we're gonna close out them 11 verses, because this is him turning over the kingdom to King Solomon. And you're gonna see, y'all, this gonna almost sound like we watching The Godfather. With the way he's transferring power. You know how when he transferred power to Michael, it's gonna seem the same exact way, because he's naming names that almost sound like they copied this from the Bible and did it. Like he told me, he said, watch out for boozy, whoever make the deal, that's the perpetrator.
Yep.
This David on his deathbed. Let's get it, where we at?
1 Kings 1, 1 through 4.
Yeah, 1 Kings 1 through 4.
You're going to get it.
All right, first, you said 1.
Yeah.
What is
1 Kings 1
1 Kings
1 through 4.
All right. Now King David was old and stricken in years, and they covered him with clothes, but he got no heat. Wherefore his servant said unto him, let there be sought for my lord the king a young virgin, and let her stand before the king, and let her cherish him, and let her lie in his bosom, that my lord the king may get heat.
So when you think only one way of heat coming to a man, and they figure hips got to be moving. Now it says David is old and stricken, so why would your mind even go there? He on his deathbed. Y'all picture this, somebody in intensive care, and you go get a hottie.
A stripper.
You're right, and bring him in there like that's gonna bring him back to life. He can't get no heat, so you figure the heat gotta be right in the middle. That'll get him going. His heartbeat will start pounding real good now. You know, they have him in a wheelchair, then he heading home and call the Uber, he out of there. His heart rate didn't increase. But what they are doing is they think that, well, they know the thing, we can't get a woman that's not a virgin and have them lay with them like that. That ain't gonna work either, because if she's had sex already and she's not married, then that title of harlot is there. So they bring her in, so they're just saying, let's make sure, keep it. But it never says, she never say she ministered to him. She became a nurse to him. She kept him warm. She saw him through that. But that was pleasing to him, to see a young one like that. You know, that lifts the spirits. It don't mean that you finna get something. It's just older men. I mean, that's what you do. Young men do it to women too, but they have to know their place.
If you stricken, you ain't doing nothing but imagine.
Yeah, that's all you doing is imagine. If he ain't getting no heat in his feet, ain't no heat in the middle either.
You stricken.
Boy, you stricken. Go ahead, read some more of that. What else it say?
Verse 3.
Uh-huh.
So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coast of Israel, and found Abishag, a Shushamnite, and brought her to the king. And the damsel was very fair and cherished the king.
She cherished the king. Ain't got nothing to do with sex, the king. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And ministered to him.
And ministered to him, waited on him every second of the day. Right. Go ahead.
But the king knew her not.
But the king did what?
Knew her not.
But she in his bosom. See, only when you hunting for bosom, quabble bosom. But you ain't even got that nowhere. Because you have to be in protection first for it to be legal. They have to be in your bosom for it to be legal.
They ain't protecting nothing.
They ain't protecting nothing. Let's get that 2 Kings 1 through 11, y'all. We're going to close on out.
Because they cast them out like nothing.
I don't understand widow's part of the house. If your father died, you got to be on your mama like you still live there with her. You got to check on her. Make sure things right. We just saw John in the bosom of Messiah, and he turned around and told him, you take care of my mama. Mama, your godson. Yeah. John, your god mama. Take care of my mama, partner. You think John gave his life because he know what's on the other side. And the other disciples knew that he was closer to the Messiah than others because they beckoning him. And I asked him, man, what he say about this man? I asked him who it is that dipping sop that's going to betray him. You cool with him, he'll tell you which one of us it is. And he asked him, Lord, who is it? He says, him that, I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm going to tell you, it's him that dipped sop with me. All of them dip sop.
He defined him by his character. He's the one who dips right after me.
Right. And he passed him the cup. And he said, go do what thou do. And the rest of them didn't even know what he was telling them. He already knew Jews. And do you know he got up and left and went and did it? Yeah. And then try to give the money back.
Conscience sake.
Too late at that point. It ain't like David, I have sinned. He could have said right then, Lord, I have sinned. I done sold you out for chicken chain the price of a slave. 30 pieces of silver, the price of a slave. I done showed you it's equal to 2 pieces of the biscuit at Popeyes. I'm sorry. It may have been forgiven. But you know what he did? He went on and did because he wanted the kingdom right then. He wanted him to summon them angels and destroy Rome, but it wasn't time yet for that, because it wasn't even time when the demons he cast out of that man in the cave, they asked, are you here to torment us before the time? Now, if he told them, and he could have went up, well, y'all already doing the hell, I'm going to throw y'all on there now. Yeah, I'm early. But he didn't even do them. So in like manner, when you see the majesty and the mercy of things, he's not going to break ranks because some Negro tired and scared he going to be dead before this go over.
But now it's warning beforehand. It said, woe unto the man that betrayed the Son of Man.
Boy.
Lord, is it out? Thou hast said.
Thou hast said.
Came out your mouth.
Right, that came out of your mouth.
But it's always the guilty conscience that spoke up. It wasn't him, it was his guilty conscience that gave him up.
Once it was put out,
because just like they say, a criminal always return to the scene of the crime.
Yes, sir.
Now he right there helping pass out flyers. He's trying to get the info, who know what. Just like that Castro dude locked all them women up for 12 years, raping them and torturing them and playing loud music, had them locked up there pissing in buckets. He was giving out flyers.
Yeah.
He was with the parents marching down the street.
He was acting as he was trying to find the missing. Yeah.
And he went the way, same way of Judas, killed himself in prison. Did the same thing, killed himself in prison. And then left a child with this woman. This is what we're talking about now. Y'all think about this child that this woman is raising by the man that raped, kidnapped, and tortured them for 12 years. She's got the offspring of this man.
Yep.
But he was not a king. so that child didn't die. Now they have to live with my abuser's child. How do you love that child like that?
How do you tell your father? How do you tell the child about his dad?
And then knowing he has the same DNA, chemical makeup.
Boy,
You wonder
at
why
least
he playing
23 of them
he get a
chromosomes.
teenager.
Yes, sir. Let's get this, y'all.
He got funny behavior now.
2 Kings chapter 1 through 11, y'all, we're going to close on out. And this David turning the kingdom over, just like when the Most High said, I gave you your master's wife. So we're going to see the same transition. So we're going to get a different understanding of what it means when you transition power. Just like David, y'all, and I tell you what, before we hit that, give me Leviticus, y'all, they all together. We just gonna do Leviticus 18. We know all the rest of them. Give me Leviticus 18, 15 through 18. And this gonna settle any matter of the fact that if he gave David wives, David had mother and daughter. He had 2 sisters at the same time. So he's breaking laws continually. And we started off with Psalm 51, where David's talking about the law of the Lord. And all of the Psalms are talking about the law of the Lord. So ain't no way in the hell David would have accepted this just for some punani. Boy, where we at? Give me that real quick, bro.
Leviticus chapter 18, verse 15.
What it say?
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife.
Yeah.
Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness.
Right.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter.
The woman and her what?
And her daughter.
If I gave you your master's wife in her house, all that come with it, don't it? But if you only thinking, he done legalized it, I can go into my trailer park mode.
And then
I can get with my first cousin, second cousin, I can get with this wife and her daughter. I'm in full trailer park mode.
But then what they saying though, Daniel, is the Lord gave David license to sing.
That's what we're saying, bro.
That's what they saying.
Let's read some more. What else to say, bro?
I don't give a man license to sin.
Right, they putting it on the Lord. They saying the Lord said if this wasn't enough, I would have gave you more.
I would have gave you more.
Wow.
And they only looking at that as women.
Wow.
Or you're looking at it, he said, look, I gave you the house of real women, all Judah. If you wanted the entire world, I would have gave it to you, but they're not looking at it. They only pinpoint one piece of that scripture, and it said right there, if I gave you Saul's wife, which we only read so far, you only had 2, I would have gave you more. So I'd have gave you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the only part of this scripture they see.
But that was to cover up a sin. That was saying you would have been, I'd have gave you more for you not to have done that sin.
Let's get some more, boy. And like I say, how do you let this leavening come in like that and teach that? And get away with it?
Your own lust.
Your own lust. That's what James say. You entice, they see the lust.
Because you know what? It actually you actually not even straight tripping off of what you saying. You're not tripping off the fact that you saying that he took a wife and her mother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, they know what they said. They don't care, man. It's gotten to a point where, shit, I don't give a care, man.
Man, that shit straight over your head.
Yes, sir.
Over your head. You don't even take the time out to straight think like, dang, they saying the Lord is allowing David to sin.
Boy.
And you teach me.
That's that Sirach 15 and 20.
Go ahead, what that 18 say? I was looking for thou shalt not approach a woman and her daughter.
Yeah, it says, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter.
Right.
Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover their nakedness, for they are her near kinswomen.
Right.
It is wickedness.
It is what?
Wickedness. Let me read it in this chapter 20 and verse 14.
What it say?
It says, and if a man take a wife and her mother.
And her what?
And her mother. It is wickedness. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. They saying the Lord allow wickedness.
And that's what you're saying, because you have to understand, they don't care nothing about law. That's why law is never brought up in a discussion. It's only the discussion of legality, but the responsibility of the law is void of that leavening teaching, and that's what a little leavening is, voids the law out. Because it seeks, all it takes is just a little bit. It eases in, and y'all think about this. This is what got it. just extra rump on the line, but the responsibility that babies come, because you know they teach it, you can't use no condoms or birth control. So you're producing offspring, and then you tell them to get going. Don't the baby leave with the mama? Ain't none of these Negroes hollering, leave, but leave the child here.
You, my brother, are an infidel.
Boy. Where we at? Let's finish this 1 Kings out, y'all, so we can get out of here.
Oh, we in 1 Kings what?
2 Kings.
2 Kings, I'm sorry. You
Chapter
fin-
1.
Chapter 1. I just wanted to make that point. Let's get that, y'all. We're gonna get on out.
Get straight to it, or you?
You know, just want 1 through 11. Okay. Yeah, I ain't gonna interrupt no more.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut. Sure.
Go ahead, y'all. See all that talking y'all doing, wasting time.
Hey, well, he sure ain't got the heart of David. He sure ain't got the heart of David, do he?
Go ahead, y'all.
2 Kings chapter 1. Then Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab, and Hazaziah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber.
Where you at? 1 Kings 2 and 11. 1 Kings.
1 Kings.
Yeah, we was going right into it after that. Yeah, after David got old.
Yeah, I thought that.
1 Kings 2 and 1.
Okay. 2 and 1. 1 Kings chapter 2 verse 1.
Right, and this him turning over power to Solomon. Right. Because we see he couldn't get no heat no more.
Right.
Go ahead.
Now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong therefore, and show thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Most High thy Yah, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, and his commandments, and his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself, that the Most High may continue his word which he spake concerning me, saying, if thy children take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul, there shall not fail thee, said he, a man on the throne of Israel. Moreover, thou knowest also what Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me, and what he did to the 2 captains of the hosts of Israel, unto Abner the son of Ner, and unto Amasa the son of Jether, whom he slew, and shed the blood of war in peace, and put the blood of war upon his girdle that was about his loins, and in his shoes that were on his feet. Do therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his whore head go down to the grave in peace.
So he said, don't, cause he getting old, you make sure he die before he ain't gonna get a send off with good gray hair, and he gonna live old and die this out. You take care of that for me, Solomon. This what he did. This what he did. He did war and put blood all over himself, had blood on his feet. Make sure he don't go down as a hoary head in a good old age in peace. Take care of that, Solomon. Go ahead.
Handle that business.
And that's why he said, be a man by what I'm finna tell you. And when you think about the Godfather, what he was telling Michael,
you say stand
not
up.
to put it in that Roman position, right. But I'm just telling you how they copy things. Go ahead.
Do therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his whore head go down to the grave in peace, but show kindness unto his sons of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and let them be of those that eat at thy table. For so they came to me when I fled because of Absalom thy brother.
So right here, Absalom was trying to kill David too. So he said, but his sons, Benzani, get him a break. They get to eat at your table. See how he's giving these orders of the household still, how he's transferring certain things from his kingship to the next king. Yes, go ahead, bro. It's like transferring administration when you watching these prayers, because they mirroring this, y'all. They just wicked with what they do.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 8. And behold, thou hast with thee Shimei, the son of Gerah, a Benjamite of Bahurim, which cursed me with a grievous curse in the day when I went to Mahanaim. But he came down to meet me at Jordan, and I swear to him by the Most High, saying, I will not put thee to death with the sword. Now therefore hold him not guiltless, for thou art a wise man, and knowest what thou oughtest to do unto him. But his whorehead bring thou down to the grave with blood. So David slept with his father, and was buried in the city of David. And the days of David reigned over Israel were 40 years. 7 years reigned he in Hebron, and 33 years reigned he in Jerusalem. Then sat Solomon upon the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was established greatly.
So we can hold that and y'all can get into the rest of that. Y'all see what happened after that. The sons of David, the other sons come and start jockeying for a position. One man fell on Bathsheba's bed. Please, can I have Abishag? You know this brother was asking for Abishag. The one that was keeping David warm and cherished him on his dying bed. He was begging for that. And Solomon told him, this Negro's crazy. What else he gonna do? He done fell upon my mama's bed like he finna rape her. You know this against the rules? Put him to death. Yeah. No, he got to get out of here. But we see how kingdoms transfer power. Right. Just like you've seen Obama transferred it to Trump. You know, and you'll see if there come a transfer again, all the power transfers.
Changing of the guard.
Changing of the guards, y'all, and this cannot happen when you're changing of the guard. Everything comes with that. So, but when a Negro only see, and I would have given you more, and you think it only mean I gave you your master's wife, well, so far, we see Rizpah, David didn't have her. Nor do we see two anointings. Saul had one, David had one, because one was Jezreel and one was someone else, wasn't it? So did he have his master's wives, or did he just take care of the house of Saul after he got knocked out?
Because that's the same thing Solomon did when he was taking care of Abishag, right?
Same thing, man. Solomon took care of Abishag too. He like, all these niggas on you.
He just took her.
Your family too. These niggas hunting you. This a quabba hunt ain't been seen before, man. Because Negroes got these bow and arrows ready to shoot you like Cupid. So, Abishag.
Right. They had to come to Solomon and Bathsheba just to ask.
Boy, come here.
She was clearly under their protection.
She was under Solomon's protection. But if David had slept with Abishag, what Solomon had been doing? She's under his protection. What bruh's saying. She's under his protection. Now, was he supposed to have Abishag after David got through with her? If that's what David did to her when he was cold? See the difference in what we're talking about, bosom protection, responsibility. When you void that out, and if any of you, and we just ain't labeling on that particularly, what we're talking about, women, you can void out your protection by going through door number 2. Door number 1 is the reception area where everybody see y'all married. If you're too ashamed to say I'm your wife publicly, and that don't mean like if you get together and then these things happen, it still have to be in the plan for us to do part 1. We missed it in the front. We're gonna get it on the back end. But we have to do this in front of 2 people. If it's your mama and my daddy and we go up to Applebee's, I need to tell them, look, this the woman I'm gonna be with, y'all spread the news. It still has to come full circle. Everything is lawful, but it's not expedient. What you got, bro? Because sometimes we make mistakes. You know, you get hot and heavy, but the law don't say you can get away with that.
No, you still got responsibility.
It takes pleasure to dwell with you. You bring her in. If you keep reading, it never said that you are lawfully allowed to go into her.
Well, we understand. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And see, they think maid means sex slave. Maid didn't mean that. Every woman that had their own handmaid. Boy, look, they watching there. That's what they watching. That's what they watching. Pornhub.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh my Lord. Man.
Anybody got any questions out there too before we close out?
Yes, sir. They said excellent lesson.
Yes, sir.
Oh, praises to the Most High.
All praises to the Most High, y'all. Hope that was a good feast today, y'all. Hope y'all was able to feast off of that understanding, y'all. And let us say this too, we don't be clue. If that's what you're doing and you handling your business with that, we ain't got no beef with you. But you cannot force a law on nobody when one law saw at the beginning I did one man and one woman, and then this one that says you can have multiple say if a man have another wife. See, how do you make if he must have one?
Right.
Gideon had 70 sons, so we know he had more than one wife. But when you point to that, why you ain't keep reading so they can see that all 70 of his sons died by the one he had by the outside woman, killed all of his sons.
And what's funny is these niggas got a whole bunch of wives, but only one child.
Boy, one child. What you build?
All you got is one out of 10? Boy, hey, you need to go be checking your supply.
Right.
What about the 7 they done put away?
Boy.
There's 7 of them put away.
Yo, all we talk
See, they keep them quiet. They keep it silent because they ain't the only ones hitting it, because they don't know who the
Right.
baby's by.
Right.
So it's easy to put them away because
Right.
they don't know.
Right.
They all swapping.
Oh, boy. Boy, you said
They
it, didn't
swapping.
you? Boy, like that police chief Jake was talking about on that other day.
They white
That was
swapping.
smiling with them tight shorts on. And they'll see that.
Huh?
A police chief, a brother down in married to some white woman. They showed him in swingers. He's the chief of police. Boy, him and his wife in swingers. One man sitting between his legs, and he got hugging his wife and the man.
He
Oh,
said it was too graphic. He wanted to.
well, the next day, Daily Mail put the pictures out there. Oh, boy, the pictures is out. I'm talking about shorts so tight, man. All his business is showing. Like Romy Rome, boy, fixed up in the front. Shalom, y'all. Hope that was a good lesson for y'all. Let's close out. What we closing out with that?
Psalms 28, with the Most High's permission.
Yes, sir.
His only begotten Son.
Hallelujah.
Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Unto thee will I cry, O Elohim, my rock. Be not silent to me, lest if thou be silent to me, I become like them that go down into the pit. Hear my voice, hear the voice of my supplication when I cry unto thee, when I lift up my hands toward the holy oracle. Draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their hearts. Give them according to their deeds and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the work of their hand. Render to them their desert, because they regard not the works of the Most High, nor the operation of his hands. He shall destroy them and not build them up. Blessed be the Elohim, because he hath heard the voice of my supplications. The Elohim is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in him. I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoices, and with my song will I praise him. The Elohim is their strength, and he is the saving strength of his anointed. Save thy people, and bless thine inheritance. Feed them also, and lift them up forever. Hallelujah!
I want to thank y'all for all y'all that's helped support this ministry, y'all. Greatly appreciate all y'all support. Thank y'all very much.